Thank you. We're ready to start. So this is Talkaoke. Everyone's welcome to come and have a seat around the table. We've got some familiar faces, some new people. We're doing a little experiment as well. We've got Chanzu on visuals. Hello. My name's Mikey. Let's go around the table, see who we've got. So, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Margot.
Hi, I'm Charles.
Charles and
Joseph, good to be here.
could we go over here?
Julie.
So we've got Charles, Joseph and Julie and Jamargo.
Did I say Chimago?
No, you didn't. I'm just trying to make it all. I'm just going to make it consistent because everyone's name starts with a J, apart from yours.
Oh, yeah.
Apart from me as well, because I'm Jamaican. And let's start this off. This is Talkaoke. Yes, you are welcome to join. We don't have a subject yet. The whole way that Talkaoke works. Have you got a subject for us?
The bin strike.
The what?
Yes, that's a good one.
Can you tell us about it? Tell us about it.
Tower Hamlets have been on strike, the binmen, and they've won it. So, yeah, so you've got to fight for your rights and for your pay. But I've just got to get her in and I'll be back.
All right, okay. Okay, so we've got suggested subjects. As that person is not staying, we don't have to go with that one. But Tower Hamlets bin strike, winning the strike.
Winners. Up the workers, up the binmen, up the binmen.
Okay. Yeah.
It's funny because last time we were outside of Tommy Flowers, we were also talking about workers. I can't remember what it was. Do you remember, Julie? It was something...
What we should be paying people. Do you remember? And is it fair what people are paid and disparity of pay and things like that? So yeah. But yeah, it's good that we've had. Hi Sarah. Hi. It's good that we've had the bin issue resolved, which is great. Hopefully they'll clear up this street very soon, and they'll get to us. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Have a seat.
Yeah. Introduce yourselves.
Yeah, tell us your name. We have got Julie, we've got Margot, we have got Charles, we've got Joseph. Who have we got over here?
I'm Faisal. Hi. Nice to meet you guys.
Charles.
It's actually Charles. Sorry.
Oh, Charles, sorry.
Okay.
Charles.
Oh, no wonder that the gag didn't go down very well. Yeah. Okay. Charles. Sorry, Charles. So I need to unblock my ears a little bit, obviously. Thank you. And yes, at the moment we're talking about striking or no longer striking bin man. Have you got any views on this, Faisal?
No, I'm just glad it's over with because apparently it was supposed to carry on for a lot longer. I don't know how the borough could have coped for any more than this.
Well, but they still
It
haven't
was getting a bit much.
They still haven't cleared up the refuse that's outside the barber shop, have they?
Okay, so there's still little bits, there's little islands like over there behind us. There's a little pile going on over there.
What was the dispute about? Was it pay rise, that kind of thing, or?
I think they all eventually ended up getting a couple of grand more in terms of a pay rise. But yeah, it's to do with pay, and in fact,
Do you think people in Tower Hamlets generally in favour, even though it was like messing up infrastructure and stuff? Were people behind them?
you know, we're all very much for help ensuring people, you know, get paid fairly and, you know, can keep up the cost of living. But then after, so how many days was it? 7, 8, 9 days. I couldn't take it much more. I'm sorry.
Okay. So I take it then you're not from Tower Hamlets. You're a visitor to the area. Where have you come from?
I'm from Croydon.
From Croydon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got a rap about Croydon. We've got a new face over here. Tell us your name.
Hi, my name's Ikhlas.
And we've got Julie. We have got Margot. We've got Charles. We have got Joseph, and we've got Faisal, and I'm Mikey, and we've got Tianzu. That's going to be experimenting with visualising this conversation. We'll see how that goes. At the moment we're talking about bins and paying workers. Is there issues in Croydon with how the bins work?
Not really, no. Yeah.
Croydon is bankrupt.
Yeah, Croydon is bankrupt. Croydon is bankrupt, yeah.
They
still have bins, yeah. You know.
Okay, so that's interesting. So you can be bankrupt. Is this working? Let me just check this. Hello. Can you hear me?
So how are you paying them?
Whoa. No, that's not working. Hello, that one's working.
That was good.
I'm just gonna Where's Margot gone?
She's there.
Can you get me another headset mic? Okay, so we're talking about bins, we're talking about bankrupt councils in Croydon. Have you come from Croydon as well, Joseph?
No, I'm just in Hackney Wick at the moment, but I just put all my rubbish in commercial bins behind shops, so I'm not very much aware of the bin strike issue.
Okay, so you kind of do fly tipping. Is it called fly tipping?
Well, I do still put them in bins. I don't just leave it at the side of the road, but I think it probably is fly tipping in some definition. Yeah.
I have to go.
Okay, give us a final thought, stroke initial thought.
Final and initial?
Yeah, at the same time.
Loving this group at the table. You guys are fantastic. We got ABL representing over here.
Okay, and what's ABL?
Oh, the big local. Aberfeldy Big Local. They'll tell you all about it.
I will.
Yeah.
Okay, tell her.
Can I have a ginger beer, if they've got one? If not, a white wine. Sauvignon Blanc,
Okay.
either soft or hard.
I'm just gonna.
Any drinks for you since it's paying? No
good,
soft
I'm
drink?
good.
Are you sure?
We've got problems with everything.
This-
Maybe we started
to-
a bit too quickly.
Yeah, we rushed into it, to be honest.
Overexcited. Let me just restart the soundboards, restart the headset mic.
Because when I was talking to you guys the other night, I was like, bloody freezing here.
Take your time.
Okay.
Meets in the middle because his wife's calling saying, where are you?
So, okay, I don't want to say we're talking about bins, but we have actually been talking about bins. And it's not a problem.
Is it something? It's a kind of thing.
We can move on. What shall we move on to?
Move on, let's move on. Yeah.
No, I haven't. I mean, I'm here. I'm just.
grab
Do you want to take the mic?
Go on.
I've got one thing I wanted to say. I'm not really happy about the current planning that's going on, the application which is going to affect the bus route here. You may or may not be aware that we used to have the 277 bus that dropped us at the Old Town Hall, and with the Poplar Harcar plans to regenerate, we're going to lose the underpass if they're successful. We're going to lose our bus route through here, which will be, it's quite the heart of the community on this street. And then, we don't need another high rise because we've already got an empty high rise in Balfron Tower, which they've wasted £57 million on refurbishing and
Right.
haven't sold one property. So that's the issue I've got. Thank you. Anyone else?
No, but we'll give
Cheers.
Nick
Cheers, Nick. Thanks. Thank
round
you,
of
Nick.
applause for getting
Cheers,
the drinks in.
ABL represents.
Okay, so you're
Mr.
talking-
Hussain.
Okay, so
You
so
gonna join us?
Where do we
Join
want to go
us.
with this? Do we need some more tower blocks in the area?
We don't. I
Julie
don't think
says
we
no.
do.
Come and join us.
Good evening.
Good
Have
evening.
a seat. Have a seat, Mr. Hussain.
Coming up.
Yeah, exactly. Aberfeldy Taylor, Mr. Hussain. Come to see him. Yeah.
Okay.
So my opinion is we don't. We need to fill the one we've already got.
Yeah.
And that's just my professional opinion as somebody who's worked in property management for 24 years. We don't really need another tower block when we've got one empty and a huge waiting list. So Poplar Harcar needs to sort themselves out, really,
All
I
right.
think. Margot.
Well, hang on a sec, because we've potentially got another new face at the table. So we have got Margot, we have got Julie, we've got Faisal, we've got Iklas, we have got Joseph, we've got Charles, and we've got
Sana
and Mikey, and this is Talkaoke. At the moment, we're talking about a few things. We're talking about the bins. We're talking about, do we need another tower block? Do we need to build more, or do we just need to fill up the empty ones, like the one you can't see it from here, but it's known as the Balfron Tower? Oh, you can see it. I can see it if I stand. Oh, you can actually see a little bit poking through there. That's empty, that one. So do we need to keep on building more? And that's what we're talking about at the moment. Iklas.
I believe that we do need to build. But we need to build considering the environment, considering the area that we live in. And now I'm looking at Poplar Harker's plan. It takes away a lot of the service that we do have currently. The convenience of the underpass. They want to take that away, not add any green spaces. Furthermore, they want to kind of shut off Aberfeldy Street to the buses also. That will redirect the bus. That will generally affect those who are less mobile in the community. I mean, at the minute, that's 4 bus stops that the residents here who live in Aberfeldy rely on in order to get about and be connected to the rest of the borough.
They're removing bus stops for what reason?
It's part of their master plan. It's essentially, just once they close this off, they want to pedestrianise the street itself and have tower blocks on either side. Yes, that's fine. We need more homes. We're not against more homes. But what we need to do, in short, is be building in a way that it doesn't disrupt the community that are already present and that hampers their mobility.
Right.
Not for those who are already mobile, who are cycling or anything. There are also very few. Unfortunately, we live in a city. We don't live in Amsterdam. We still need the roads. We still need our cars. Car usage is going to still be the same, roughly amount. And by government estimates, they're trying to bring that, the green revolution through by, electrifying everything. So cars are only going to get cleaner. That's the, kind of the preferred mode of transport for most folks. So if you're looking at, we're looking, and hopefully, I don't know what the government guidelines. I mean, they were aiming for 2030. Probably that's increased to 2035. I don't know what the policy is. So many decisions.
Things,
But mainly, we've got to look at it. Whatever we build, yes, there is a need for new homes. There is a need. We have a waiting list. There's an urgent need. But that's got to be met with considerate and, thoughtful.
It's the way we do it,
plan.
I suppose.
Yes, that doesn't disrupt or interrupt or kind of hamper the existing community and the residents that live here.
Okay, well, let me open this up because not everyone here is from Tower Hamlets. We've got people from Hackney and Croydon. I don't know where you're from, Sana. Where are you from? I'll come back to you in a minute. Well, you're not from Tower.
I'm from Peckham.
Peckham.
But actually, I just got back yesterday, and there's a whole thing with Rishi Sunak kicking off.
Yeah.
People
What do you mean, a thing with Rishi Sunak?
Well, I don't know exactly. I haven't read it up properly yet, so maybe people know. But he kind of went back on his green policies. People kicking off of that because you mentioned like green cars and stuff. I wonder whether that will happen during our lifetime.
Is this kind of local thing about the pedestrianising this? Is it connected to green policies? Are these things connected? Is it more green to have a pedestrian, Faisal?
Yeah, I think it's part of a major overhaul of this entire this entire area. They've labelled it the master plan. Essentially, they've bundled
master plan.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, who is the master of the master plan?
I'll tell you what it is. They've bundled in things that they know we need. More homes with parts that we don't necessarily, which hasn't really been justified. For example, blocking off the underpass, blocking us in, closing down these routes, changing the bus routes. But it can all, unfortunately, according to their plans, it can only happen if the whole lot happens.
Okay, so it's all or nothing.
All or nothing. That's the position we've been put in.
Right.
And we're very much against it. There's a huge backlash, but. Over 2,000 people have gone against this, but there we go.
Here is a bus. So that's a bus that's going to be gone.
So in terms
that
of
will be gone.
That's it. They want to stop it from coming into the area, just bypassing us. It's fine for us, the younger generation. We can walk a little bit more, but. I like to think I'm too young.
Yeah. You won't be for that.
But I'm more thinking about the elderly, those those vulnerable, those I suppose people with parents that are carrying their children along, pushchairs and so on. Where they're carrying their Tesco shopping in, for them to walk that extra bit, it's actually.
It's a bit of a distance.
It is, and we're already a bit of we're an island. It's really hard to get in and out, so it's essential for us, really.
Okay. Well, I mean, when you say I know what you're talking about, but maybe you could explain.
Yeah, of course. So if you see where we are on the map, we've got one side which is essentially closed off because we've got the A30 and a pretty major road. On the other side, we've got the A12, another major road going into the Blackwall Tunnel. So the only way in and out is really one arterial road, which is Abbotts Road.
And what's the third side?
It's essentially a triangle rather than a square.
Yeah.
So we've got two major junctions, and so it's just one road that cuts through, and that's the way the buses come in and out. That's the way we would drive in and out. and it's that major one route out that takes us
Yeah.
out to Tower Hamlets to the rest of the borough. The other way we're leaving the borough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay, so we're here on the island. Aberfeldy village, or whatever you want to call it, is a little bit of an island. We've got the A12, the A13. See, and what's that?
And the canal behind.
Okay, so that was what I was looking for. For the third side of the island, you get your point. Bonus point there. But nothing. Your price is nothing. But we're on this weird island, so maybe things are a bit different here. But how does it? My question is, how does these kind of local decisions? You're talking about Rishi Sunak and green policies. How does it all weave together? Is there a way to do it? Does it have to be all or nothing?
And also, I think we were talking about the bin men before, or well, I guess it's bin men and women. I don't know what the gender,
Maybe you could just say bin person.
Bin person.
Bin people.
Bin people.
The people of
going
bin.
on strike, and they fought for raising wages, and that kind of happened. But I wondered whether people think for something as big as a big master plan or like major changes to your area is protesting a way to change things, or is it a bit like, there's a master, the master's got the master plan, and we just want to hear all the good kind of endorsements and that kind of stuff. And also I want to find out where you're from.
Where are you from? Because you're not eating
Who's
anymore.
this stranger on the table?
No, we've got people from Peckham, we've got people from Croydon, from Hackney, all around.
I'm not Tower Hamlets. I live in Haringey.
Haringey, okay. Well,
We've got a whole range here. There we go. And I used to live in Hackney, so there we go. But I'm from Holland, so there's a whole combination.
But I mean, so there's this question, I suppose, about how does it? What's happening locally kind of feed into this national thing? Can it be a bit more nuanced? Can it actually? Let me just go to Joseph.
Well, I was interested being from Holland. Because this gentleman here mentioned the issue of
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, and you make a city really cyclable and walkable, but then how do disabled people, how do people with pushchairs get around? Is that an issue in Amsterdam? How do people that can't cycle get around?
That's very good, Joseph. We've got the Dutch perspective right here, sitting on a table. Do they do it better in the Netherlands?
You would be surprised how many people of many ages do cycle. But no, not all people can cycle, and there is definitely. It's not accessible to all, but you would be shocked. I remember there was a journalist going for a trip in Holland, and he was just so enjoying himself by sitting outside of his Airbnb and watching the street, and he wrote in his little post of saying, actually, it was so nice to see so many different people cycling and being able to cycle. But obviously that's because the circumstances are made that way, and that is really not here. Like, I cycle in London, but it's not safe. It's not. It's really not safe.
So you feel
dangerous prospect, isn't it? It is. That's the only reason why I wouldn't get a bike, because even though I'd have a helmet, lights, high vis, all of that, you turn left.
You'd have all the gear.
You got the truck.
Yeah.
They hit. How many cyclists die that have all of that? The other thing to say is that there's already a problem in this area with police being able to get into some of the area when they're dealing with ASB.
Yeah.
And
ASB.
so if you pedestrianise the whole street, police can't get in that way, police can't get in that way. How are they going to tackle the ASB? We've got a real problem with ASB on this development, and there's so many nice little segues.
What is ASB?
Oh, sorry, antisocial behaviour. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Can you be more specific? What kind of antisocial behaviour?
Drug trafficking, it could be people stealing mopeds, whizzing through. There was a burnt out moped near Culloden Primary School just there some months ago. It could be noise nuisance, it could be sexual harassment, racial harassment. There's a very wide expression, domestic abuse. There was a shooting on that side, and we only heard about it. It was probably about 3 months ago.
I couldn't get out my estate.
We only heard about it because one of my friends who lives in Aberfeldy village in Glassblowers sent me a screenshot of the information that First Port, her managing agent, circulated talking about, but there was no communication from Poplar Harcar at all about the shooting, and still no update from Poplar Harcar about it. And it was a broad daylight shooting.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
crazy.
I mean, hello, welcome to Talkaoke. This is a freeform talk show. Right now we're talking about cars versus disabled people. It's not, I don't know if it's versus. Come and have a seat on the table of chat.
I will in a minute.
What have you got any views on the master plan? People have been talking about that a lot. Yeah. So because they're saying should it be all or nothing? Because there's some things you're saying, Faisal, that you like about the master plan, but other things that you don't like. And can it not be tweaked in some way? You were saying you like the more houses, you don't like closing the bus route, for example.
Yeah, or getting us closing off the major arterial road, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
That road. Blocking us
closing the underpass. Yeah.
Exactly. We want to be able to move about. We want to be able to get in and out. So it's got to be a two-way conversation rather than this is it and take your lump it type of approach.
Okay, so you feel it's like all or nothing. Some things are good, some things are bad. Can we? Can it be tweaked? Yeah, these are some of the questions that are out there. Charles?
I'm curious how the council has claimed they've interacted with local residents to do this, because they always say, oh, we've done a consultation or we've done this and that. What does this look like? This seems like quite a good consultation here. Has there been kind of local councils, that type of stuff?
Are you in on that?
Yeah.
Well, apparently they did a consultation. Apparently 93% supported the consultation, except there's over 2,100 people who signed a petition against it, because none of us have actually been made aware of this consultation. So you sort of add up the numbers, you think, where on earth have they got this 93% from? So during COVID, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's during COVID where you couldn't consult because you couldn't go and visit door to door and undertake. And I think it's been really poor. I mean, I'm not in any way, against progress. I work with developers as well. But, for instance, having the Feldy Centre is great, but I've lost 40% of my light that I used to have.
What do you mean you've lost?
Because obviously they built the building wider, and so I've lost 40% of my light. If they build another tower block, that means that some residents on Levin Road will lose 60% of their light.
Right.
Is that fair?
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. Okay. So a lot of questions, a lot of problems we're talking about. You're saying, Julie, you're not against progress, but there's winners and there's losers, and you're a loser of light for sure. We've got a new face at the table. Tell us your name.
Hi, I'm Laura.
Laura, we have got Sana, we have got Charles, we've got Joseph, we've got Ikhlas, we have got Faisal, we have got Julie, and we've got me, and we've got Tiansu that's just experimenting. We're trying to visualise the conversation as we go. Right now we're talking about just this question, like here in this local, did you know that you're on an island, Laura?
I did. No, I commute in to Stratford actually on my train. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a real island, but it's an island with two sides being motorway and one side being a canal. So we're kind of cut off it, and it's good in a way, but it's also bad because there's not many routes off the island, basically, and they're wanting to close some of those routes off of the island. And we're talking about just who gets to decide how we shape this area, and how do those decisions actually get made? Ikhlas?
I firmly believe that the people who live in this area should have that option of deciding at the end of the day. You should have to be given plans that I know with any development, like you said, there will be winners and losers. Some will feel aggrieved that they didn't get everything that they wanted, but there is a there is a middle ground to be found in any dispute.
I mean, what do you think they could have done that would have sort of brought more people on board, or
Well, I'll tell you what happened. They had this meeting. They had the planning meeting at the town hall, and he was unanimously rejected. With only one abstaining, but unanimously he was rejected by the council. And rather than coming back to the negotiating table and working with the residents to say, look, what would help you, kind of get on board with the plan? What tweaks can we do? They've decided to go to the GLA and get the mayor's to call it in. That bypassing.
What does that mean? That the mayor's going to override
the council's decision in a
Right.
sense. So ultimately,
Yeah.
you know, it's another planning meeting again, you know, for and against, and this time presented to the mayor. Now, what Popular Haka have done has not kind of revealed the truth, because they bust in a load herd of residents, but not residents from the area. They bust in yeah, you know, this is you won't believe. Oh well, yeah. I mean, we can tell you that. So yeah, so they bust in essentially residents from other areas that they're developing as well, who are affected as well. Who are got in decant status, who are required to move out in order for the development to go ahead. Say, come say yes to the proposal. This will rush up anything. I don't know what the picture that they sold, but essentially trying to silence the voices of the people of Aberfeldy, because majority of the people in Aberfeldy feel that no, this master plan doesn't serve its purpose. We live here, we're going to cut it. That underpass is the only way in and out. Well, not out. Essentially, it's a one-way system that allows us to bypass the traffic that's on the A. Is that the A12 or the A13 on this side? A12. And allows us to connect.
Yeah.
Because now,
but, Icarus, okay, they've done it in that way, and that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
My question is, what would have been a better way?
Work with the residents, consult the residents properly. I mean, I know during COVID, it's not just kind of isolated to Popular Haka, but a lot of organisations up and down the country, corporations, even government themselves, they try to sneak in a lot of policies through and said, oh, we've consulted through e-consulting and all the rest of it. But that kind of, is a form of barrier to people.
I mean, is it really consulting if you're just kind of wanting to get your vision approved rather than actually
that's exactly it.
building something, co-creating something together?
Well, they've got no interest in co-creating, I don't think. I mean, for them, their policy and their master plan works. If only it doesn't include resident participation.
Right. Okay.
Right. No, they're there. I mean, I will plainly tell them in their face that it is there. I mean, you can get their side if you want.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying
for
to
me
get their side.
personally, but essentially that is the case. The less opposition you face to anything, or less resistance you face to anything, it's more likely that you'd kind of thing. But there is ways of working with the community. I mean, they say they are builders of communities, they are engagers of communities, but they're not.
Because you
look at any other development up and down Tower Hamlets that they're partaking in has caused serious division, serious concerns, and not necessarily in the favour of those residents.
Okay.
And it's all on record, so it's for them to kind of improve on, really.
I think you want to add to that, Julie?
Well, it was just really a sidebar. I mean, we had Section 20 consultation where you...
What does that mean?
That means that if they're doing... So we had our cladding on our building, so they have to consult, because although the works were funded by central government, they have to still notify us and give us 30 days to raise any questions. I sent in about 25 questions. Being in property manager, I need to know how much it's going to cost, how long it's going to take, what access do you need, blah, blah, blah. I also issue works for Section 20 for cladding, so I know exactly what goes on.
Yeah.
I've been in this business 24 years, so I know. And then we got the responses and said nobody had issued any questions. And I said, hold on a minute, I sent 25 questions a year ago, you still haven't responded. So, let's go back to the drawing board. Yeah. So they do sneak in a lot.
There's more listening needs to be done.
They need somebody with eyes like mine.
Okay, so they need to be more aware. I don't know if I'm going to put a call out for those from Popular Haka. I think there must be some people from Popular Haka as this exhibition is. But we do need to hear that side of the story as well. Are they listening enough? I mean, it's up to you where you want to take this conversation. Faisal, you've got an idea, but I'm going to come to you in a second. Do you want to talk about how decisions are made, or do you want to talk about how Popular Haka could be doing things better? Can we spread it out to those people that are not from Poplar? Margot?
I mean,
from Peckham?
as everybody from Peckham, from Poland via Peckham. But I was wondering, has everybody seen the exhibition now?
Yeah.
And what do you think about it? Hey, so some strangers cycling past. But I mean, is this exhibition like helping? What exhibition?
Okay. Can someone explain? You've been to the exhibition, so explain the exhibition.
The exhibition, wow, I feel pressure that somebody's
Yeah, okay,
listening.
no pressure.
Can she do it? It's about air pollution in this area and, well, and how you can translate that into a visual format. So in the exhibition you'll see two different areas where there's been placed different sensors about getting an idea of how much air pollution there is in those specific areas, so the A12 and the D Street. And you'll see that every day has its own sort of code of air pollution. So I think it's it's a great way of showing something so intangible in a tangible way. Yeah.
Okay.
From that exhibition itself, from your gathering of data, what's the verdict in a sense? I mean, is it as bad as people say it is?
I don't know that part.
Okay.
I don't know entirely.
We need some any experts on air pollution over there? We need you at the table right now. Is it that bad? That's the question we're asking.
The visuals look bad.
The visuals
the higher the colour, the vibrancy, the colour. That's how it's above the threshold that it should be, and it does peak a lot. And it was interesting saying that with the bank holiday weekend, that's what Graham just told me. Gary. That over the bank holiday weekend you could see when people left town, but then it peaked again when people were having barbecues, which is quite interesting that there's multiple ways of creating air pollution.
Okay, barbecues adding to air pollution. We've got some new faces at the table. Let's just get some... Hang on, I'm going to come to the barbecue question, but we've got new faces. Tell us your name.
Sarah.
And tell us your name.
Sophie.
Sophie, we have got Sana, we have got Charles, we've got Joseph, we have got Ikhlas, we have got Faisal, we have got Julie, and we've got Margot and Mikey, we've got Tianzu trying to visualise this conversation as it moves rapidly from subject to subject. But right now we're talking about a few things: air pollution, Poplar Harker, listening, explaining what's going on, I suppose, as well. You had a point earlier on, Faisal, didn't you?
No. Yeah, we were talking about Poplar Harker, listening to the local residents. In fact, that's what we've been trying to do, reach out to them so many times to have a conversation like this in a nice, community area. We even booked the church to have a nice debate.
You want to have a nice conversation.
Do you know what happened? Shall I anyway, the guy's just over there, so I'm sure he'll be. I'm hoping he pops over. But no, I remember. We set up a meeting at the church to invite everybody along, have a discussion. Discuss the pros and cons. I got in there nice and early, put the kettle on for everybody. It's one of those big fast, so it does take a bit of time to warm up. Before our opening time, that office was actually rammed, and I thought, what's going on there? They'd already planned an attack on us, and in fact, before I could even open up, they all rammed at us, rammed the door, almost rammed the door down, and I opened up, and they all just started shouting at me, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And they actually brought some of the locals along with them. Over time, before you know it, the locals realised what was actually going on, and it was their community officers, the people who should be engaging us. They were actually trying to sort of, cause a lot of trouble amongst us.
I mean, what I'm going to take is the very first thing you said, Faisal, which is a nice conversation, because that's definitely what we're trying to do here, is have a nice conversation. Now, hopefully we're succeeding. Come and have a nice conversation with us. That's where we're really going with this. And
barbecue question.
Oh, the barbecue question.
The only thing
I like the way you don't let things go.
No, I don't.
Like the 25 questions.
I'm like a dog with a ball. I don't let it go.
Okay, barbecues.
Right. Barbecue. They always send a letter every sort of late spring to say, you're not allowed barbecues, and they're good at that. They always send the letter. Fine, no problem. The way that they've notified us about this exhibition is the same way they can reach out to us to consult with us. Look at the attendance here. So it's possible without confrontation. It's all nice and easy. So as Faisal said, as Ikhlas said, we just want to have an intelligent conversation, debate about the pros and cons of their master plan. I mean, I think most of the people that either rejected the plan or partially rejected the plan said with modification we'd be happy to support it, but not with the way that it is. Sorry, Ikhlas,
Yeah, okay, hang on, but Ikhlas are going to come because Margot, and we've got a new face. Quickly tell us your name.
Hi, I'm Caroline.
Caroline, welcome.
I'm Margot. I forgot what
in which case you lost it. Okay, there we go. Okay. Probably somewhere over there. This is Talkaoke. We're talking. So yes.
So Julie's coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, let's just state our position. I mean, as residents, we've been very, very clear in regards to the master plan. We're not opposing any form of regeneration. We actually welcome regeneration. A lot of the residents do own homes within the village, within the area, within the wider Aberfeldy area. That's kind of taking up the development there. So for them, if a regeneration happens, it's a good thing because the value in their investment goes up. Okay, so but the lies that's been peddled by proposers is that anyone who opposes the master plan must be against the regeneration. Therefore, it stops those residents who are affected by their neglect, of the mold issues within the homes that has deemed them not uninhabitable, it's straight down to Talkaoke. They have the power to kind of address those issues in the short term, while this master plan is being put through. But they decide to ride shotgun, allow the problem to kind of develop. It's a managed decline, and that's been the kind of consensus and a pattern on what they've gone about getting people out of the area.
Okay.
It's a wider discussion around gentrification as well.
Okay, so there's also discussion around gentrification. Let's get a final thought from Sana. Thanks for joining us. What's your final thought? Is this the same in Haringey or?
Well, I should be way more involved in Haringey, that's for sure. Not to say that my voice really matters that much, but I mean, it always matters. But it's great to hear the idea of co-creation participation is great, but what does it really mean if you're basically just planting ideas to people and not even including all the people? So I don't know, that's a really depressing last thought.
I want to find out about the project.
Oh right, I just said quickly to her, I'm hoping to one day, hopefully if funding comes through next year, I'm working on a very specific project called I'm basically recycling human hair waste.
Right.
That's what I do.
Not
very
having our
specific.
microphone here. But,
exactly. That will be a bit interesting. But if funding comes through, I might be working in this area.
Does it matter on the quality of the hair? Can it
be anything.
The colour?
It can be anything.
Yeah.
So I can quickly show you while we're here. So this, for example, is made from human hair waste. So you make it into yarn and then you make it into rope, and then you can make it into all sorts of things. But that could be my last thought. That has nothing to do with what we just said. She just said, tell us.
Charles is just asking, is that human skin around the human?
No, God, no. Hair? That's actually pineapple fibre waste.
Okay. So,
But again, working with very much a material and sort of looking at it from sustainability perspective, there's no point in material innovation if you don't understand social...
When you go to the hairdressers at the moment, what happens to the hair?
It goes to landfill, and it can't biodegrade. It's actually creating more toxic gases. So we can actually make it into fertilizer, and we can grow our gardens with it and our parks.
Do they not use hair for oil spills?
They do. So some organisations, I can give you a whole lecture here, but I'm not going to do that. I think the topics that you were doing was amazing.
That's fine. It's Talkaoke. We can go on any subject.
Exactly. But some organisations do that as well. There's multiple uses with hair. Obviously, I'm the hair fanatic. But so hopefully you'll see me again soon.
Okay. Well, we
From
keep
Haringey to here.
we keep our fingers and our braids crossed.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. We're going to hit you with a round. I've been very quiet on the sound effects because it got a bit serious. And that's fine. And I think we've got some serious things to discuss. But as you guys were saying, Faisal, you're saying you want to have a nice discussion.
Absolutely.
And this is exactly what we like to do here on this table: is have a nice discussion. Margot, have you got?
But I mean, as Julie was saying, there's a lot. Supposedly, there's a lot of Talkaoke people here today, and they came to the exhibition. I mean, do we need to use some kind of special creative tactics to get people in? So they're coming in, they don't know it's a meeting. It's just a nice thing, or it's like an art thing they're coming to. And then I'm not proposing to shut the door behind them and just make them talk. But I mean, if you say I want to have a conversation about it, I just know for myself. If someone says to me can I have a word or whatever, you're not going to like it. It's just how you say it.
So that's
maybe
the worst way to invite someone to Talkaoke. Can
we have a frank conversation in a constructive spirit?
Can I have a word?
That would, So I think we absolutely need to kind of maybe think of some ways of engaging these guys, but they're kind of like office-based bods, aren't they? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So they kind of speak office, is that what you're saying? Charles?
I was going to say maybe they don't want to engage. And that's kind of the standard thing with development across the country, is that there is the master plan. I'm also curious about this master plan.
Yeah.
Who's using that terminology, master plan? They are actually, it's the architects of the master plan, and it's kind of like automatically going against the idea of community engagement if they have a master plan that you can either say yes or no to. It's not a thing, okay, then we're going to the second iteration, third iteration, you come in and go, well, this is it, and if you if you don't like it, doesn't matter. But I wonder what, I'm automatically kind of cynical about local councils when they say community engagement. It's just to tick a box and go, we have engaged with the community through some kind of project. I feel if they were to use like a kind of a medium like this, it would also just be a way of saying, well, we've had a conversation, it was great, we did a Talkaoke, and then they go take and it's a thing. I don't know, do they?
Yeah.
They did a survey. They started off doing a survey by saying, who wants clean air? You know, who wants birds to chirp when you can walk out your door? Who wants it to always sun to be up all day every day? Well, actually, because you said yes to all of those things, it means we should be shutting this road down for you guys.
Do you find it strange that? I mean, I think clean air is important. Like it's like pollution is like horrible, especially in the summer, like right. But that's quite a new. I feel that's new, right? In the last few years, that's definitely an issue that is being used to drive through different things. And I feel like you guys would bring that up as an issue, but if you asked straight away, would clean air be the first thing you talk about as a resident? I don't know, but it feels like it's definitely spearheading lots of the conversation in a new way.
I'm just going to fill this in for the people that have arrived later on, people like Caroline and Sarah and Sophie. We've been talking about the master plan of this area, and actually we can see it over here in your future Aberfeldy, so if anyone's interested you can go and have a look. But the issue is not actually really about the plan as such, but more about the way the plan's been developed and the possibilities that residents have to actually engage with that in a constructive way, as you're saying. And where's the conversation? How's that conversation happening? Can it be adapted? These are all questions that are coming out tonight. I mean, not everyone here is from the local area. We've got Joseph from Hackney Wick, and we've got Charles from Croydon. We had Margot over here from Peckham. I've got the sad music on for some reason. And so, I mean, where are you from, Caroline?
I live in Woodford, but I've kind of grown up around East London kind of all my life.
Is it similar around there in other parts of East London where people are wanting to redevelop?
Yeah, it's happening everywhere. It's something, I think it's just about, the foundation's just about respect and just being transparent, and it's like who's making these decisions, because sometimes they say something but decisions and conversations have already been made. So I don't know, I just kind of feel like you just have to really hope that the people making the decisions have their hearts in the right place and they are being transparent with what they're doing, and that there's not other agendas going on. Even places like Walthamstow is heavy gentrification now. It's not what it was. Sometimes you can not go somewhere for 6 months and you come back, you're like, what has happened to this place?
Yeah,
I think everywhere they have signs now. Do you want to buy land? They're just looking everywhere. So
so it's not just isolated to this area here. It's happening in Walthamstow as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, but ultimately, what's this all about? We all know there's a major shortage of housing, in the country, and there's a major push on building properties. So clearly, we've got to address that. But what's actually the reality is, all of these properties that are being built, are they actually going to people who the problem that we're trying to solve, or is it going to overseas investors? We had the largest, one of the most lavish Chinese New Year party the other day. Why? Who was it full of? It was full of potential property investors from overseas. Yeah. These projects haven't even gone through planning yet, but they're already being advertised in Malaysia, Singapore. So even if it goes through and it's developed, well, who's going to benefit? Well, not us.
Okay. So who is the building? Hang on a sec, because we've got a new face at the table. Tell us your name.
Hi guys, I'm Johnny. Nice to meet you guys.
Johnny, we've got Caroline, we've got Charles, we've got Joseph, we've got Sarah, we have got Ikhlas, we have got Faisal, we have got Sophie and Margot and Mikey. I don't know if you've been listening to the conversation. We're kind of talking about redevelopment, gentrification, even just improving the area. Who is it for? And, you know, is it really, are the local people benefiting this? I think there was a point over here, wasn't there, Charles?
I was going to say, even if they did fill up those tower blocks with sort of local residents or whatever, they're getting rid of a bus route and they're not building new schools. And there's some point where infrastructure is, I don't understand, that's everywhere they're building all these like tower blocks. How does infrastructure like catch up with that? You know, there's not enough stuff for people.
Okay, so infrastructure meaning schools and other stuff like schools, surgeries, yeah.
So I can say a little bit about that. So there's this thing called Section 106 of the Planning Code, where when developers are building new tall towers, residences, they have to contribute money to Section 106 and the community levy and stuff like that, that then allows the council to build the other things, the schools and parks and things that people that live in these new developers need. Whether that's enough money, maybe you have a thought.
On that Section 106 that you just brought up, that's interesting. Under the master plan, they want to build I mean, this came out in the town hall meeting, and everyone was a bit of an uproar about that. But what has happened, the reasons for the closure of the underpass, there's 3 underpasses going across that's pedestrianised, and one, as you know, is the one that leads the bus gate and the vehicular underpass that goes out towards Zetland Street. The reason why they want to close the nearest pedestrian underpass that's right next to adjoining the vehicular underpass is in order to bypass that Section 106, because that tall building that they're building is outside the local tall building allowance or zone or whatever they call it, and thus providing a space where they repurpose the underpass for a green space, or so-called, or essentially it's a footpath with 2 mud banks on either side with some few flowers on it. Okay, that they call it as a critical infrastructure to then allow them to bypass that Section 106 and allow them to build other than that, they wouldn't be allowed.
So they're building a green space under the motorway. A greenish space under the motorway. Anyway, we've got a new face at the table. Tell us your name. Matt, welcome. We've got Sophie, we've got Julie, we have got Faisal, we have got Ikhlas, we've got Sarah, we've got, I didn't know names, I'm just saying it too quickly. Joseph, we've got Charles, and we've got Caroline, we've got Johnny, I'm Mikey, and this is Talkaoke. At the moment we're having a discussion about just this local area. I don't know if you know, we're on an island here, but it's not a normal island, it's an island of, I'm going to turn myself down as well, it's an island of motorways and a canal, and basically they're wanting to redevelop this area, but in a certain way. And I think we've got a lot of people locally that feel like they're just kind of, they've been told they've been consulted, but they don't feel they have been consulted about it. And there's some things they like about it, like more homes. Some things they don't like about it, like closing off. There's a bus that goes past here that's going to be gone, and there's you can join us.
Join us for the radio. Come on.
Yeah. What do you think about the master plan? Any thoughts on it? Okay, later. So yeah, but I also wanted to open up to those people that are, you know, and Caroline says, yeah, sort of similar things are happening in Walthamstow. So that's so is this island, you know, that's where we are really. Margot.
Sorry for crunching, but I was recently reading an article, and it was about the social housing in Vienna, in Austria, and apparently they've got it really right. And I was, because it was like a really kind of left-wing article talking about how they continually keep on building their houses, and after the Second World War there was like 85,000 knocked down, but they kept on building and building, and right now there's a rent regulation. It's already really good, so it is possible to have a good affordable housing and keep building. And then I told it to my friend, and he said, oh yeah, but my family was from Vienna, they were Jewish, and then they got their houses repossessed. So I mean, it's a very specific story, but I do think like you can't really, it's like a double-edged sword sword, you try to do something good, but there's always going to be something. You can never win.
Yeah.
You can never,
What you're saying is there's always going to, I mean, maybe not.
There's always like
big...
an undercurrent of there's like a dark side of every positive story. Hey, we are making a really nice exhibition about pollution. Yeah, but pollution is
You're always going to be
roof.
treading on somebody's toes, is basically what you're saying.
Probably,
I'm going to sum that up in Johnny.
So I'm new here, so I have I'm not too familiar about the master plan.
Do you live in this area?
Yeah, I've just moved in around the corner.
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hi. So if someone doesn't mind just filling me in on the master plan and what's going on here, don't worry, I've got no links with investors. I'm not an investor myself. Nothing's going to happen there. But yeah, I'd just like to know what's going on here.
You know what's going on. Okay. Well, what led you to come to this area?
I was looking for work down in London.
Okay.
I've just moved in from
Where
Durham.
are you from?
I was just up in Durham.
Okay,
for
Durham.
the past couple of years.
Yeah.
So yeah.
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 Yeah. Mm.
Well, yeah, the DLR's been good. East India, I think, is the closest one here. There's a couple of other options around. I literally moved in on Friday.
Okay. So
I'm not too familiar.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I'm definitely going to hit the. Okay, give you a bit more of that. I'm going to try that again. Oh, it's not doing it now. Right, anyway, someone's got to. Sarah, you got something to say, but someone's got to explain this master plan. And I just want to say, if anyone from Talkaoke's listening, please do come and explain the master plan. People want to know. But Sarah, over to you, and I'm going to come to you.
Yeah, I've been to the showrooms, right?
Yeah.
But the showroom is open for the investors.
Right.
So, what do I want to say? The residents who are here who want the houses, the showroom hasn't opened up yet. They said they were going to open it this month,
right,
or the coming month.
Right.
But apparently, 3/4 of the buildings are already bought.
Right.
And we residents, we've got just, I think, a quarter.
Right. Okay. All right. So you're saying it's mainly for investors?
Yes.
Faisal, you're going to explain this master plan?
Of course. So the plan is, as you can see, it's quite a dense area, isn't it, with houses around or flats around us. So the plan is to bring in another 2,800 properties, which includes about 4 or 5 blocks and a really tall block down that end. Now, 4 tall blocks. Now, how do we do that? How can they justify that? It's by basically closing down this major arterial road. What they've essentially done is combined 2 park spaces, one on the other side to this side, and now that allows them, that basically justifies building properties up to a certain level. Without it, it's not viable apparently. You don't have enough green space to build at that density.
Right.
So that's one of the major issues. So they've essentially done a consultation with people who are being essentially decanted. So it's essentially people who are going to be moved out, potentially moved out of the area. So the problem they're going to be left with, it's not their problem anymore. They're not in the area. They're not having to face all these issues.
Right.
So apparently they've had that consultation, but the vast majority of people who are here are really angry because we don't know anything. We only found out once they've done the consultation in the peak of the pandemic, where we can't get together, we can't argue, we can't challenge anything, and it's the master plan.
Right.
In other words, it can't be improved.
Right. Okay. So I think your main issue really is about how you were not really able to contribute to this and give your thoughts and have it shaped in your way.
Exactly. But
yeah.
That's right. But with our major objection being, don't block us off.
Yeah.
Don't close off our way out of the area, way out in and out of the area. We need to go. We need to be able to reach Tower Hamlets. We need to be able to go and see family members, go to work, and so on. And if you close us in fact, I've got to add one more thing. So there was a point where we actually had a flood in this area, and that led to us going out up. There was traffic all the way up and down this route. It took us 40 minutes to get out where it normally takes us a minute to get out.
Right.
And that's exactly what we thought would happen under the circumstances. And guess what? That's what will happen on a daily basis if this plan goes through. And that's been our major issue with this.
Okay. We've got a new face over here. Do you want?
No,
you're just listening to this man.
No, I'm listening.
Tell us your name.
No. Makadusmia, 25 Balmer Close.
Yes. Okay. Well, welcome. I'll hit you with a round of applause. Do you agree with what he's? Do you agree with what he's saying?
Yeah, I'm agree.
Okay. So that's basically what's going on. I don't know if that makes sense. So that's the sort of sentiment in the area. Come and join in. Yeah.
Just to kind of inform our new friend here, welcome to Aberfeldy, Johnny. Yeah, I mean the main issue here in this area, as Mike has already described it, and as many of us have described, is an island. We're cut off from the rest of the borough, and it's accessibility. Okay, it takes us a considerable amount of time if we were to drive on either side of the roads, whether it be A12 or A13, just to get into Aberfeldy. Okay, I mean we're kind of hampered by that Blackwall Tunnel traffic. Now closing that underpass, which kind of allows us to bypass our way out, essentially, and be connected to the rest of it. If it hampers us, it also hampers emergency services. If you're new to the area, you will notice there's a very low police presence. Why? Because it's a nightmare to get into. Okay. What Poplar Harker should have done is actually improve the existing underpasses, the pedestrian underpasses, and make them safe and secure, rather than going after a vehicular underpass that is a main route, an arterial road out of Aberfeldy.
And emergency services have already complained about
this.
this.
Yeah, and the emergency. They want to.
Are they closing the tunnel then?
No.
Here, you know the underpass at the end of this road, Aberfeldy Street. That's the route for majority of the residents to be connected to the other end of Aberfeldy. I mean,
Johnny mentioned the DLR. I mean, are you driving, Johnny? Or are you taking public transport?
I'm mainly public transport, and after a couple months of work, we'll hopefully have a bike and be cycling as well. So yeah. But yeah, so I'm not too familiar with this road issue at the moment.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, are you planning to drive?
Only if I'm planning to go like out of London, pretty much.
So
Yeah.
You won't necessarily own a car.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got some more stalls coming through.
To finish on that point, in regards to the transport you brought up about the DLR, now you will notice that we've got the bus issue at the minute, where they want to take away 4 stops that serve the most vulnerable and most less mobile of us in the community. Now, for Johnny and I, we're young men. We can go across East India. It's very convenient. One set of traffic lights, so you're across there. The other one is Landon Park. Now, you try getting to Landon Park. If there was an issue with East India, Johnny, I ask you, go through to Landon Park and see how much difficulty that is. At the minute, there is none, because you just take the vehicle, any of the 3 underpasses that you got there, you can cycle through or walk through, and it's just as convenient. If you want to get exit and say, look, I don't want to take public transport, I want to go via a car and take a family day out, or even go reach and look after other members of the family that are in and around London that you need to get to, the vehicular underpass is the only way back out without getting into the traffic around. Okay, and it's a crucial route for emergency services, because I'll just give you an example. I had an emergency. It took me 40 minutes just to get down the road to Bow Roundabout, which is the main roundabout leading to Royal London Hospital. Do you know what I'm saying? Closing that underpass will make it even far worse and a lengthier journey, thus endangering people's lives.
Okay, so there's issues with transport, especially on the roads. Charles, were you saying something, or just resting?
Yeah, I was gonna. So it seemed like here that the developers have this. They're developing for local residents tend to have cars, and new people in the area tend to use transport or cycling, and they are developing for new people. And so the issue here is about cars and transportation. Possibly that's kind of the hinge point, it sounds like. I don't know.
How did you get here? Let's have a straw poll. How people got here today?
I mean, I got here by public transport and train. I've never owned a car. But I feel this is the
sympathise with the car drivers?
I guess I do, but I've never owned a car. I always go by public transport, but I don't have a family either. So it sounds like that's also a big issue with a household needs a means of transport.
I'm gonna go around the table with this one and just find out how people got here. How did you get here?
Bus, there was a lot of traffic.
Yeah, did it take a long time?
Yeah.
So yeah, hang on. I'm going round.
Yeah, I took the DLR and I got here to East India. Yeah.
Okay.
So did I, and I was playing some wordscapes and some Sudoku. I don't know who's into Sudoku as well, but it's such an amazing game. I don't know. Does anyone else share opinions on Sudoku or chess?
Very good at it.
Okay, so you managed to do a bit of Sudoku. How did you get here?
I feel like my journey started last night because I arrived in London via plane,
Right.
Heathrow Airport, and then I cycled, not from Heathrow. So it's flight, then train, then cycle.
Okay, how did you get here?
Walked all the way.
Walked, okay, from where?
From the other side of the Blue Bridge.
Okay, so other side of the Isle of Dogs. Hello, tell us your name and tell us how you got here.
Hello, my name is Cameron. I got here on my bicycle.
Okay, and...
Hiya, my name is Maud and I also got here on my bicycle.
Okay.
I walked. I live at the end of the street.
You live at the end of the street, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I walked here as well, but I'm a resident here, and going back to his point, it's about having that choice. I do use public transport, I rely on public transport for work. It's just a quicker way of getting about. But then on the weekends or any emergency, kind of situations, I do rely on my car to move my family about, because I just find that a more convenient and a safer way of ensuring that they can go.
So if you've got family, you're going out somewhere, you need.
I need the car. And I don't own a car. But I use the car club here, and for me, even if I use the car club, it's been stuck in traffic half the time and been hindered by a closure of a road that shouldn't be thing. Costs me money as well,
Because you're renting the car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm paying by the hour or by the minute in a sense. So it's critical for me that I be able to utilise that time very well and not be stuck in traffic.
Okay.
All the way from Lakeside, from my daughter's house.
Yeah. How did you get?
It's been a nightmare.
Yeah.
Just around where it's just like a kilometer to here.
What, were you driving or?
Driving. My daughter was driving.
So it took a long time just to get back from your daughters in the car. How did you get here, Joseph?
Well, we both came from Bloomsbury, so we got the tube to Bromley by Bow and then the bus.
Yeah. And how was it?
It was fine, I think. It was, yeah, it was fine. I mean, that Bromley by Bow is one of the worst underground stations, because you come out and you're straight onto the really busy road.
Yeah.
And if you get the bus on the side, we got the bus on the other side, but if you get the bus on the side where the station is, it feels like when their bus pulls in, it's like the most dangerous bus stop in the country, right?
Right, okay. So you're risking your life on the bus. Anyway, just for the new people that come, we've been talking about the master plan. There's been quite a few people that live in this area that have got various disagreements with the master plan, but they don't feel that to cut a long story short, that it's been all or nothing. They've not been able to contribute to adapt this plan, to say what they like, what they don't like, and they feel like the sense of consultation has been more a kind of like approval or disapproval rather than something that you can actually contribute to and collaborate with and create with. And I think that's been a lot of the issue, because as a lot of people have said, they're not really against these things happening, the building happening. That's where we are right now. And then, as Charles says, there's a lot of it maybe is also about how you get around, and does one mode of getting around kind of impinge on another? Margot says, whatever you do, you're going to be treading on someone's toes. And
That's not exactly what I said, but you're a master of paraphrasing, aren't you? But I was wondering, because I know Tiansu's working on some visualizations.
I should say,
and if the master plan was a bit more kind of like visually engaging, people like understand what's going on better. I mean, because
could we? Yeah. I mean, we should. Sophie, do you mind just moving slightly to your right? Yeah, and we can have a look at some of these visuals. And would visualizing some of these things actually help, and being able to move things around on the computer?
Iklas has got some points right away. But
Matt.
You know what it reminds me of?
Oh, hang on. Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? It's like when I was in primary school, I remember once I had a headache, like a massive headache. I was 6 or 7, and my teacher, and my teacher told me that I should always draw out all of the pain that I have, and it will pass. And that the pain will pass if I draw it out.
Draw out the pain.
Yeah, so like I spent like an hour drawing out the pain, and you know, at the end of this, you know, we folded up the piece of paper and we torn it apart, and actually the pain passed away. I was 7 years old, and
it does work.
It does work. Drawing out things, drawing your pain and things. Yeah, so like I think like if people feel a lot of pain and grievance over the master plan, maybe the answer is just to draw it out and tear it apart, and maybe things will improve. You know, so it sounds magical a little bit, but yeah.
So you're going to rip up the master plan and draw a new one. Is that possibly the answer?
Well, no, of course, they won't. The short answer is because they've spent too much money on it, and they had I think they have another £29 million from the GLA, which is that is dependent upon this master plan going through for approval. So they won't throw it out. There's far too much in it for them. But going on about illustration and if the people were able to visualize the master plan, Poplar Harker did do those illustrations, but they left out the crucial details of how those the closure of the underpass will affect residents, or the kind of wider scope of the whole plan itself. What they did was only concentrate on the small area of building new blocks and how those blocks will be laid out, and not give the residents a full picture. No. And those details came out on the town hall meeting, and thus was rejected afterwards unanimously again by residents and the council.
Right. Okay.
But that's where we are. So in some cases, visualizing something works if it's transparent and it gives you the full picture. But like they say, not all pictures tell the full story.
Okay, so it depends how this works, how it's contributed to. I don't know, because we've got local people like Johnny. And are you off, Icholas? Okay, but if you do go, we want a final thought from you. We've got Julie, who's from local, but we've got people from Hackney Wick, from Croydon, from Woodfords. We didn't find out where you're from, Matt, but
Lewisham.
From Lewisham, and so I don't know. I'm just trying to involve you in this, as it's things that happen wherever you're from. Lewisham, we found out, but does it happen in Lewisham? Does this kind of thing happen in other places? Are you from, or are you local? Tell us, Cameron.
Come on.
Oh, is it long enough? Yes. Hello. Yeah. Wow. Lovely. You keep going. What was the question?
I knew that's what I was thinking. Don't worry about it.
You missed the punch. He said, is it long enough?
Hey! I do not live here, I must admit. So my skin in the game is different. How did I get here? Bicycle. Yeah, bicycle. I work here. I work on the other side of the A12. However, no, we didn't. We came across the road.
Across the road.
Yeah, you wanted to go on the underpass, and we debated
dangerous.
it. Yeah, Maud was scared of the underpass.
I had someone in my cargo bike.
The one that goes under the A12 to there, to where that.
He didn't feel comfortable. It wasn't.
You didn't went through the Blackpool Tunnel.
I wanted to.
Where the Blackpool Tunnel is.
I forgot how to get there.
Anyway, Karen,
so where are we going? What are we doing? What are we talking about?
We're talking about. I mean, I don't know if you work here. Maybe you do know about what's going on here locally.
Yeah.
Or it's better. Or
I mean, London is changing fast, isn't it?
Yeah.
London is changing fast. There's lots of big things going up. It's a difficult one. I find it hard. I feel like, as someone who's seen this street only in its latest guise, it's a wonderful, wonderful place. And so I hope whatever happens, that the energy that is on Aberfeldy Street is maintained. Don't know how you do that. I don't know how you capture an energy.
Okay. That's one of the physicists. Any views on this? More? No?
No.
Okay, yep. Question over here.
This is the first time I've been on this street. What is this guys? It looks really cool. It's full of graffiti or kind of street art and stuff. I sometimes think, is this a council thing? Is this part of the master plan, or is this a local kind of grassroots kind of thing? Often when you don't know whether street art has been planted there or it's come from some kind of legitimate. What is this guys?
Yeah.
And what is Talkaoke? Is Talkaoke part of the master plan? Boom!
Well, I mean, we were talking. I think there was come and join us. This is Talkaoke. Everyone's welcome. It's a pop-up talk show. We do it regularly here in Aberfeldy Street, but I'm not sure if it's part of the master plan. But maybe it could. Maybe we can make our own master plan here, and that's how it would work. We've got a whole bunch of new faces around the table now. It's getting very busy, so let's just get some names. I'm going to do the names first of the people that are here. We've got Johnny, we've got Matt, we've got Sophie, we've got Cameron, we've got Julie. It's a bit Gabby. And
another Sophie.
Another Sophie. You can sit. Come forward. Don't stay on the cheap seats. Come forward. We'll hit you with a round of applause. They might be coming back, but then when they come back, they can sit at the back. We've got Sarah, we've got Joseph, we've got Charles, we've got
Jessie
and
Kate
and
Holly.
And did I mention Johnny? I think I did. And I'm Mikey. It's getting too many people now. But basically, I don't know if you know this area. Is this your first time in this area? Do you live here?
First time here.
What's your first impressions?
Very colourful, lovely stuff.
Okay. We're going to hit that with a first impressions.
I've been here before.
Okay. Any thoughts on the area?
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
And what one of the things is, I don't know if you know that this area is all going to be redeveloped. And there's been a lot of residents, most of them actually have disappeared now, apart from Johnny, who's only been here for like 4 days. Julie, you're our only remaining resident. Maybe you could explain a little bit what's going on. And I guess we're also looking for commonalities that are happening, because other people have said it's been happening in the other parts of London as well. So just tell us very briefly what's happening without going into details about different sections and stuff like that. Just give us a brief overview.
So to answer Charles's question, this artwork was funded, I believe, by Popular Hardcore, but everyone was decanted, and then they did the kind of street art, and then you could pick your design, but then people got decanted. So I think
decanted meaning
they got moved out into other properties. So what's happened over the last couple of years is at the end of the street they've built a community centre. That in this corner there was the old community centre. There's a brand new community centre with a theatre and some offices, and then they've built Cherry Court, which is part of that community centre, so that it went from 4-storey to 9-storey. And then round the corner they have Cardamom Court, so that's been built in the last couple of years. And then they built, going down Blair Street, some properties there. And just to recap for the ladies that have just joined, Sophie and Gabby. Yeah.
And we've got
sorry. Yes.
What's it again?
Jessie, Hayley, Holly.
Jessie, Kate and Holly.
Kate and Holly. All right. Yeah. Sorry, my wine's talking now.
Yeah. Well,
right.
Yeah.
Jessie, Kate, Holly.
You're doing very well.
I remember Johnny.
You should have a go at doing
I remember Johnny though.
Yeah.
Right. I remember it's long enough as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. So basically,
tell us about them. What's this master plan that we've been talking about?
It's basically Popular Hardcore's attempt to get funding
they are the local
to
social
redevelop
landlords.
these properties to build up and build bigger buildings, and have the underpass is closed, plus a tower block at the end of this street near Leven Road. So that's in a nutshell what it is. That's what the master plan is.
And what are people saying about it?
Well, we're also going to lose this local bus that we've got, the 309, so we're not happy about that. And although I'm not against pedestrianising, it's already difficult for the police to enter to deal with antisocial behaviour issues as it is, let alone if they pedestrianise the whole street. How will the police get in? Yes, you're right, but it doesn't solve the problem. You'd have very fit police, right? Very fit ones coming around, that's great. But what I'm saying is that, even pedestrianising the end of the street, you still get the motorcycles driving down where they shouldn't be, really. So it's kind of like, I'm all for bicycles. Must be fit police officers, though.
Okay, right,
must
okay.
be.
So that
must be, Mikey.
Yeah. So.
By the tunnel where I come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've come down through the underpass on the other side to get across the traffic lights.
Yeah.
So I've come underneath and then come up and then got that lock going into the tunnel. It's chaos there every day.
It's chaos. It's chaos. Yeah. Okay. So basically, that's where we are. But there was a lot of chat about the manner in which the decisions have been made as well, which and I think that was also another issue, was that how decisions have been made, where people sort of felt they hadn't been really involved in how those decisions and their local area was going to be shaped. So that was a nice, but I'm going to leave it there because we're going to have a new host in the middle of the table. Are you ready?
Well, yes.
Okay, so we're going to, let's welcome Matt in the middle of the table. I'm going to jump out, but we're going to keep this warm. So most of you probably won't know, but you're not really allowed to give your opinion on the inside of the table, but on the outside you can say whatever you want. So I've got a lot to say. So hopefully you'll give me the mic, Matt, when I'm on the outside. But let's keep it warm for Matt. Sorry, Johnny, I'm just going to spin around.
Okay, that goes in my pockets.
Yep.
And I just jump. Whoop! She's in. Hey. So can I get everybody's names? And hello, I'm Matt. I'm your host now. So hello everyone, and this is Talkaoke, the pop-up show where we talk about everything that we want to talk about. So can I quickly get your names around the table so we can all remember?
I'm Johnny, guys. Hello.
Hi.
Mikey.
Sophie.
Cameron.
Julie. Gabby. Sophie.
Sophie, welcome.
Joseph.
Joseph. Hi.
Charles.
Charles, hi.
Jessie. Kate. Holly.
Cool. Welcome everyone. So excited to be here. Oh, I'm sliding.
We're a little bit on the slope.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So we were talking about the master plan, and we were talking about how it's important for us, the place that we live in. Essentially, and we're talking about what we can do to change our surroundings or to challenge what people are doing, the people with money. So do people have thoughts about the power dynamics, or have they experienced anything or like want to share about changing your surroundings or having an influence over what's happening?
I mean, although I'm a talk show host, I'm essentially an artist, and I do think that imagination is very important in this. And I think just the way master plans get developed kind of leave out that space for the imagination, or leave it to the professionals. And I think a lot of these problems can be solved with imagination. For example, I think to a certain extent, the painting of here was a very imaginative approach to like how to keep fresh a space that they wanted to knock down. So I think I personally think they need to engage people a little bit more imaginatively and use their creativity as well in that process.
Yeah, so it's about imagination, it's about using what you have. So
I just have a question. Is the master plan what the council want to do to this area?
Housing Association, Poplar Harcar, yeah. Poplar Harcar, yeah. Funded by the GLA though.
So it's about imagination and changing. So final thoughts from you. If are you leaving?
No, we're coming back.
You're coming back. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. See you soon.
We'll be back in a jiffy.
See you soon. Yeah.
You know, I think the more I think about master plans, the more I think that the history of master plans is that most master plans fail anyway. Like this place has probably been master planned 100 times in the last 100 years. Like at the moment in the news, there's a massive, master plan of HS2. It's been going on for decades. It looks like even the Prime Minister is about to accept that it may fail. For better or for worse. Most people might say for better, I don't know. But that's a good example, I think, of how if you don't like a master plan, it doesn't have to be accepted that is what will definitely happen, because history shows that master plans are not as masterful as they may seem.
So master plans keep failing us, or people are not capable of delivering them. That's what you're saying? So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I just thought that was really interesting with what you brought up about HS2, because I live in Camden Town, and I live very close to like Euston and like where that's all happening, and like loads of council houses have been like knocked down. Everyone's been decanted, and where do those people go? Where do they like rehouse those people? And yeah, and it's just a big fat mess, and it's been happening for years. And I'm 22, and I live in my grandma's house as a council flat. But but she was like, she go down to like Hampstead Road and like protest and stuff. But it's like the whole thing of like master plans and stuff is like, it's not really benefiting anyone in the area. I guess, is it trying to benefit people in the area, but it's not working. Doesn't happen.
Sometimes communities are lost, because I remember when they were redeveloping the Haygate estate in the Elephant and Castle, and the leaseholders that own flats, they were like, well, we're going to give you market value, but what the market value wasn't what they weren't able to buy what they had, a 2-bedroom. So a lot of them had to move outside London to be able to afford a property. So it really disbanded that community. I mean, it looks lovely, but there's no soul to it. That's the problem. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, please.
Maybe this is a small diversion, but maybe to follow what Mikey was saying a minute ago about where creativity, where imagination lives. I think imagination, creativity often takes place in places that haven't been designed to accommodate that. And I think often the issue with big projects is that it's all been decided already and it doesn't allow stuff to grow naturally. So how do you, it's an interesting provocation maybe for the master planners, how do you design somewhere where stuff can actually happen outside of it being designed in from the outset as well?
So you're proposing that things should be designed from the outside and imagination should be, it shouldn't be designed from the outside, but it should be done organically, sort of make it naturally grow.
Saying it should happen organically, it's better that way.
I mean, I just wanted to add to that, and I think that organic way of, if you look at how most towns evolve, that they actually organically, you get all the different things like the butchers, the bakers, all kind of emerge in the middle of the town because that's where it makes sense. And it's probably, even then in the Middle Ages there was probably some issues with, I can't fit my horse and cart through there. But you feel like if it happens in that slow way, that actually it can happen more organically. And I think that's the issue, is maybe that you don't really, with a master plan, you could think that you've done everything well and you've planned everything to the minutest detail, but actually there's a flaw in your plan because you haven't thought about something that you can only realise once it's been built, and that's a whole billion pound building to realise you've got a flaw in your plan.
Yeah, so essentially what you need is some kind of validation. That's what you're saying, with people actually using things. But we've got some new faces at our table. Could you share your names?
Oh, hi, I'm Vicky.
Hi, Vicky.
I told my name Mia.
Mia.
Yeah, Makadis Mia. Yeah.
Nice to meet you. So we're talking about master plans. We're talking about planning or the structure of the places that we live in. Yeah. Please join us. Just for 5 minutes, we're talking. It's so much fun, please.
Not only that, my battery is dead.
Yeah, what's your name?
I'm Leon.
Leon, nice to meet you,
Leon.
Leon.
You've got a minute and 30 seconds, and then
So we're talking how imagination and the usability of space is affecting what we're doing. So
I mean, I want to link back to what Julie was saying some time ago. There's going to be some fit policemen kind of coming around here, and I just wonder if the form in which they're on their way. No, but it doesn't matter in which form the kind of you're being told bad news, because I think if it's because we're talking about visualizing the master plan, was there some stuff missing, yada yada yada, but I think there is a way of telling bad news in a way that is nice.
So fit policeman is the answer to this. Just imagining just good-looking people coming for your rescue.
Fit policeman come to announce bad master plan or something. So it's quite good. I don't know.
So good titles, catchy things can save us. Yes. Yeah, so does anyone have an?
I just want to say, what it reminds me of is, when you watch Grand Designs, and they've got this fantastic architect and they've got this fantastic plan, and then what happens? They start building three quarters of the way. They build the what's that thing called? The toilet. No, not the foundations. The toilet. When they've got that kind of external. The toilet. No. Septic tank floods the foundation, and they got to start again. So it was a fantastic idea, but maybe not the septic tank kind of thing. And then they need more money to redo it. Good one. Septic tank. Yeah, exactly. It all goes tips up. Yeah, tits up, and then the policeman arrive.
So the policemen arrive and save the day, of course.
No, it makes up with the wife.
Yeah, so yeah, give us a final thought. Very short on master plans, 1.5 minutes of being here. What can you share with us?
You know, there's the voices. Go on, you ask. Go on.
I want to ask you a question. What's the master plan for Ruth's barber and the bike shop? Because it seems like this is an emporium that you're building.
Well, the master plan is to grow continuously, support the community, you know, be a good place for people to come and feel happy, and give opportunities for young people as well. So my actual master plan is I'm working on setting up a barber academy, so kind of to help be, and in that I kind of want to, every course that I run, one person from a disadvantaged background gets a free opportunity to learn how to cut hair. And yeah, and so have I. But yeah.
Any final thoughts? Final thoughts. Please, sure.
Leon, you owe me a drink. I need some packet of crisps to go with that as well.
Hey. See ya, Julie.
I'm going as well, so if you want a final thought, you want?
A final thoughts, yes.
Final, just have a great evening and enjoy yourselves.
Let's enjoy ourselves. Thank you so much. And good luck with your master plan. Thank you. So the master of
Leon, just before you go, what happens to all your hair? Because we had someone on earlier on that was using the hair for an art project. Can she have your hair?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Who just get the contact. Currently it goes in the bin, but if anybody wants any hair, we get plenty. I think that we do like about 1,000 haircuts a month, I reckon. So there's lots of hair, lots of wigs. I did think about this before, but I collect it properly and then.
So we've got a new face at the table.
Hello there.
Yeah, what's your name?
Lee.
Lee, nice to meet you, Lee.
Thank you.
Do you live locally? So yeah, we're talking about master plans, we're talking about how imagination and creativity influences the space that we live in and what we can do about this, but we can take this conversation anywhere you want to, guys. Any tangent or anything that you want to mention, it's absolutely fine. So,
can I get my final word in before I...
Yes, please.
I have been called away. It's been lovely to take care, Julie. It's been lovely being invited by Mike to come on to the show and talk about some of the local issues that are affecting residents. And it's brilliant. I've got to meet a new resident here as well. I'm sure I'll see you around the village. Please say hello. Don't be afraid. I mean, it is lovely to meet a lot of the folks that have come here. And thank you for your views. And hopefully we will see you again in Aberfeldy. Please do visit. We're a lovely bunch of folks here. We're not scary. And we make excellent tea. If anyone wants tea, by all means.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
I just want to say, if you want a coffee, come to the People Speak at 27 Aberfeldy Street.
Are we competing?
No, I'm just saying, I'm doing the coffee, you're doing the tea. We're collaborating, we're not competing.
Yes, thank you so much.
Take care.
Thanks. See ya.
Nice meeting you, Johnny.
Yes, so as I was saying, we're talking about what we can set up, what we do, how imagination influences us. We're talking, we've got a beautiful art piece being generated at the moment. Sorry? Oh.
I mean, I'm just wondering if, like, just to come up with a better answer to how to involve, maybe you could build it virtually. You could build like a new space and give people virtual tours so they could see what it's like to actually inhabit the space, and then give them the tools to actually change it so they could actually modify it themselves and then see where that would go, just as an experiment, almost create a kind of virtual Aberfeldy village. Would that work as a way to sort of like come up with a better plan than the one that they've got at the moment?
So is the virtual reality the answer to to our problems or problems with design? Can design be improved with novel technology?
For me, I feel it depends who's in charge. They choose and pick whatever they want. Because we keep on talking, we keep on blasting, saying how we feel, but it's not worked on. It's whatever they feel like, that's what they do. It's just like talking to empty space. And time goes on, and there's another generation, something else comes up. What do we do?
Yep. Okay, you have something to share?
Yeah, just my thoughts. Yeah, you're right. I feel like I'm Canadian. I'm quite ignorant on all these topics as I've just like kind of like am getting in the groove of what English life is. But isn't it always just like the people and money and wealth and power, and it's greed? It's not for the general interest of everyone as a community, and we don't think that way. Like when you get to the top, when you get that get in those positions of power, all you're thinking about is keeping it and keeping people pacified enough to stay in that, right? So it's not about the community anymore.
Yeah, so what you're saying, it's not about community, it's about people who have power and dictate how people should live. So people feel like they don't have the control anymore. Is that what is the case?
I think people forget very quickly. So I read recently about a shop quite near where I live, which is beyond retro. So it's a big trendy shop in Dalston. You go and you get your clothes. You know, I've been there before. I probably bought some clothes there. But not long ago, it was an amazing cultural centre. People called it the Kurdish Embassy. It's a Kurdish community centre. And I didn't even know, because I've not lived in London long enough, I didn't know that that's what it used to be. And it's sad how you forget the amazing things that have happened in places so quickly. So how do you find a way of remembering? Like you were saying, the next generation arrives, they forget. How do you find a way of remembering stuff? I'm curious to ask.
History, history repeats itself. We say, how do we remember? Remember, we could look at our forefathers, our ancestors, whatever. It happens. Their generation, they did the same. And what annoys me, it makes me so angry that it's like we are talking to empty spaces. They listen, they know, and they make believe. And we pretend like we end up being like kids.
Yeah.
Because they do nothing all about what we talk about.
Yeah. Any final thoughts? Please share your thoughts. Tell us what you think.
Don't get my name speak, okay?
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah. Please have a good evening. Thank you.
You know, I was thinking about like history and how we remember stuff. Like, I just had an interesting thought that like recently, I went to not far from here, sort of Poplar. I looked up some family history, and there were a whole bunch of my family that got killed in the Second World War, where a V2 missile landed on their house and blew up their house. But even louder than that, much louder. And I visited, and whilst I was hanging outside and like looking at the map, the current people in the houses that have been rebuilt in that place, they came out and they obviously thought I was some creep that was hanging out their house, and they told me to go fuck myself. And I thought there was something quite sort of wonderful about that. I thought that they had no, and I said to them, "Oh no, I'm not like a creep. I'm here because," and I started to explain that I was there because my family used to live there and they got blown up by a bomb, and then it became crazier and crazier. And I think they thought I was becoming crazy, but maybe I was. I don't know. But it was quite nice in a way that they had no memory of that, because I thought if they lived in that house and they knew that people had like suffered there, it would sort of. So I didn't tell them really so much because I thought it would ruin their life living there.
So it's all about memory and remembering what happens in places.
And yet places so often bear the traces of history, right? You can so often see what's happened before in the city. But I think when these big, maybe this is returning to the theme of before, when these big projects happen on a really big scale, places get totally knocked down. The history, the kind of the visible signs of what's happened before gets wiped out with it. So how do you try and change the scale at which you're operating, perhaps, or operate in a way where you don't totally erase? It's not, tabula rasa we talk about, not totally wiped out.
So we're talking about preserving things and about things that we cursed.
Well, I mean, we're just doing this chat, and there's a picture here of a guy called Tommy Flowers that was also involved in the Second World War. He was the engineer that built the Colossus computer, that decoded the Enigma machine. Everyone, hopefully, if you want more information, you'll be able to see the film. But yeah, a local resident. But I just feel like there's so many. I bet there's just every single house has got sort of stories to tell, which are just as kind of deep and significant. And you know, that's the thing, is there's so much history in London that almost every step you take, you're kind of treading on history.
This isn't really a solution, but like it makes you feel a bit hopeless, because when something is like a building or piece of like old architecture like is like knocked down, and you can't really savor it, and it's gone, and how are you supposed to log that, or how are you supposed to tell the people that live on top of it, the remains of it now? Like, how do we do that? You said education, did you? Or no, you said museums. You want to talk about that? Museums, just museum. That's the thing. Like, how do we do that? Makes you feel a bit, you know.
I know you can't still get tired of talking. For me, I call legends. We keep on telling our kids, this is the job of we nannies, talk. Right. Keep memories. All that, come on. We read of books of centuries, novels. We go on. You don't give up.
Earlier this week I was in a place called the East Side Community Heritage Centre, which is in Stratford. And somebody that worked there said something really interesting to me, was that she said, the people in Stratford and Newham, because of the Olympics and all the stuff that's happened, they said they have been asked so many questions and they've been researched so much that they're like tired of telling their stories. And they're tired of researchers and the council and historians and developers constantly asking them to tell their stories, and then nothing happening because of it, I guess, necessarily.
So it's about preserving things.
I mean, I think this won't be a problem in the future because we've got Facebook. Are you off, Johnny?
It's so much fun.
Okay, give us a final thought.
Final thought, right? Well, it's funny that people who get asked all the time to tell their stories are sick of it, yet people never get the chance to tell their stories sometimes. So it's funny how that happens. That's an interim final thought. I'll be back for another pint after my haircut. But yeah.
Enjoy your haircut and please do come back. Yeah, enjoy it.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to sort of like lose money for Leon, but I feel like Johnny's hair's okay as it is. Yeah, I mean, I get my haircut when it looks like this microphone, and then I get a haircut. But obviously, some people are, yeah.
Final thoughts from yourself.
Keep on writing, never give up.
Never give up. Yay! Hold on, thank you so much.
We have to keep on.
Let's keep on going. And in the spirit of this, Mike, he wants to keep on going.
I don't think this problem.
Please join us. It's so much fun. Please do.
I don't think this question about history will be a problem, since the invention of social media, because it's all stored, and Google Maps will show us. In fact, if you look at Google Maps, it shows you there used to be a pub down the end of this street. Hit the person with a question. Do you live around here? What do you think of the master plan? There we go. You see, a person is involved in the
master plan. Yeah.
In the conversation. Anyway.
I mean, I think it's kind of like it's a bit dangerous to think like social media is now being the repository for history, because it's like so ephemeral, and it's all going to like kind of it all just kind of disappears. It's on hard drives, and there's not some, I think it's kind of it's a bit of a danger to think of that as, history is far more concrete than it was. We have far more archival material, but it'll just be gone in a second if a hard drive, or if like some weird attack happens in like California, all these like things go down, and all our history is gone. So I think we need to bring it back to like storytelling, and sat around a circle, sat around a fire, and even that might seem ephemeral to start with, but actually that's far more concrete than this kind of digital space. I don't know.
So the digital space is more fragile.
Yeah, well, Elon Musk can just probably press a button and delete all of Twitter, and then you delete all those tweets, and you delete all. History is gone. We'll never know what Trump said on what day, and he did some dipshit shit. Who knows, man? But yeah, like some of the favorite things that I feel like I've talking with, like when I was younger in school, like it would be like, oh, what are the scientists gonna think in the future when they find all of our bricks, and they're gonna be like, wow, what are these stupid rocks that we all were like storing all our shit on? How do I get to it? It's like a floppy disk or some shit. We can't even get into old floppy disks anymore easily. Like, it is like really like it outdates itself so fast. And I think like if we bring it back to storytelling around fires, it'd be a lot more community based than some degenerate typing away on the computer with his Cheeto fingers. So, yeah. It'd be a lot more cultured and.
Community mean?
Community, ooh, that's good. I think it's just people coming together and maybe like, yeah, like this. We're like a little community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have, we're gonna go. I'm gonna go. So I've got a
So final
thought, almost first and final. I think I agree so much with the fire, like the talk around the fire and the community stuff. I think, and what this lovely lady was saying is that people are not heard. And, you know, there's all those researchers asking and asking, but they're not really hearing. And I feel because they're not asking the question properly, it's not about sharing our history, our culture. It's about asking a question so they can validate what they're building, and I'm not comfortable with that. That's my. Well, I'm starting, and it's really terrible. I'm not going to be part of that exhibition. I just first ever NEET, probably the last.
I'm also going to go. Thank you, guys. That was wonderful.
Wow.
Big up Talkaoke.
Thank you.
Just before you go, I just sort of feel that the reason why they're not heard is because people always come to them, and we see this all the time with science communication, research, planning. People come with their idea of how they want to do it. They don't say, what do you want to talk about? What's important about your world? They say, this is what we've got to offer you. This is the information. This is the plan. This is the research. And they never find out the other side of the story, what is in people's lives and in their minds and in their imagination. So, yeah, I think that's, if they started from the other person's perspective, they might feel a bit more listened to.
And get somewhere.
So it's all about the perspective.
I turned you down because it was getting windy. But
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that's why it was. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for your thoughts. Thank you, and hopefully see you soon.
Yes, see you soon.
So we're talking about building communities, listening to people in communities, and actually hearing what they have to say. So how do we? And essentially, we came from like imagination, how we can like imagine our spaces and make them better. Everything is about improving our livelihoods and improving the way we do things and make it more democratic in a way, right? So
my question on that is, when we're talking about listening to people, making things more democratic, who should we be listening to? So at the moment, I think Keir Starmer has talked about taking voting down to the age of 16. What do we think about that? Is 16 good enough to vote? Should it be lower? Should people who are too old not be allowed to anymore? You think 3, sir?
3 years old. Yeah.
Well, like what? Isn't it in America? I'm Canadian, not American, but isn't it America where you can go and be in the military, but you can't vote and you can't drink yet, right? So what is it like that? What is it like over here? Can you be in the military and not be able to vote? Or like, I don't know what it's like here.
Can you be in the military? I'm not sure.
I think
So-
I think you can be in the military at 16 and not be able to vote in the UK. So there's that kind of gap. So yeah, it's kind of
Hello. Hi. What's your name?
Tianzu.
Tianzu. Nice to meet you. We're at Talkaoke. We're talking now about democracy. We're talking about what people can do. Sophie's leaving.
I was going to say, Tansu's been doing the visuals in the corner.
That's why I haven't seen your face.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Because I was sat here. I'm so
But I mean, should we have a quick look at these visuals?
Yes,
maybe?
let's have a look at the visuals.
Yeah. So this is just a little experiment. Can you say a little bit about these visuals, or do you want us to comment?
Basically, I have no idea what I'm doing. Just like cut out all the images, all the topics on the top and rearrange them. So I'm not sure if you can really get what I'm trying to tell, and or can you have like a grips of what we have all talked about before and during the Talkaoke. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, it's
What is the triangle? Oh, it's a triangle. It's the island. That's the thing. I think that's the river and the road and the road. Yeah, get it?
Illuminati, yeah.
Well, maybe that too.
Master plan.
Oh, we've got the right sound effect as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing that you've captured the moment. Thank you so much.
But you know, it's just so funny because like whenever we talk about the cities, like you can't get away from talking about cars. And like we just recently did a project in Bristol, and we're like, oh yeah, great, we're just gonna capture some sounds of this area. It was literally just car engines over and over and over. And I just wonder whether it's ever possible to do something more creative with the sound of the cars, or I don't know, just with that as a situation. And what about Rishi Sunak? Can someone explain to me what he's doing, because I just don't get it.
What is Rishi Sunak doing? Can we improve the cars? Can we make them make nice melodies instead of the roars and?
Yeah, I mean, I do sort of feel there's a bit of an over-reliance, over-emphasis on cars. But it is a very emotional point for a lot of people on this street. The cars are very emotional about their cars. So it is important. And
so
you can't
first
just...
house, first car.
Yeah, you can't just... Yeah, exactly. You can't just change that. People think about... They dream about cars. So, yeah.
People dream about cars. The computers dream of electric sheep.
I was going to say, like, have a North American, like, I think there's an attitude in, like, North America to cars, but it's like a deep, like, emotional attachment. It's also, like, a kind of a safe space for people. Like, I think lots of the people, like, from the community around here were talking about, well, it's for my family. It's to take my family here to there. So they're, like, your entire life sort of grows up around a car as well. You remember being in the back of the car in, like, the child seat, you know, like you're a teenager with your first car and like all this kind of stuff, and it's like an emotional connection. And I think developers maybe kind of use this emotional connection or this infrastructure kind of like being pushed into like the development. Is that making sense? Is this kind of like wild paranoid stuff? But there's an emotional connection to a car that's tied into all these debates, and that kind of comes up that I didn't think would necessarily come up.
So emotional connections to cars and places.
I do think
sentiments.
I think you said it just there. You know, we probably have a lot of memories or childhood memories from being in the back of a car or something, our first car and stuff.
Do you have any memories? Any kind of memories about cars? We're talking about how cars are amazing to people and how much they care about their places, their possessions. Would you like to share with us?
Memories of my college days was just saying, please turn up, most of the time. You're here to be free, that's what they said, but it was more regimental, I think. It's just,
so we ought to be free?
Yeah, well, college is, isn't it? You can be as free as you want in college, but once you start learning and then, well, I left after a couple of months.
Please join us.
I just started a job, so...
Take a seat, come join us.
Well, I'm just going to take her for a walk and I'll come back, but I'll definitely come in here. It's an interesting subject. Has the strike talk been on yet?
Yep.
The bin bill.
Yeah.
We talked about the bins, but we also talked about the master plan quite a lot. That's been the main subject of tonight, I think, is the master plan.
People there, you should speak to a master plan about what?
A master plan about Aberfeldy's master plan. That's what we've been talking about.
People here earlier, they could have come.
Well, everyone's welcome to come and join the table.
Join us. Yeah. We're talking about master plans, about how we're attached to our cars, how we love the places where we live. So please join us and share your thoughts. Hello. See you soon. Hello, so what's your name?
Oh, Chloe.
Nice to meet you, Chloe.
Lucinda.
Lucinda, nice to meet you, Lucinda. Round of applause for a newcomer, so thank you. Yes.
You get a round of applause.
I was watching
Because you joined.
I was watching something about kind of emotional attachment to some like more mundane things. I was in the cinema with my mum and we were watching this advert. It was in the end it was an advert for a bank, which was really sad, but they got a bunch of like young people and the stereotypical pensioners or people who, you know, maybe don't look like they're pensioners because they maybe look a bit more, I don't know, more happening, I don't know what to call it. And then it was like, and the advert was this contrived conversation between the young people and the pensioners and the pensioners, and it was just like, yeah, and I almost cried at this advert because they used the right music, they had the right shots or whatever, and then when I realized it's an advert for a bank, I just felt so ashamed of myself. But I think that's being done to us all the time. Yeah.
So it works.
Just so easy.
You want to go to that bank?
Yeah, I'm gonna like start. Oh, it's a Polish bank. It's not Polish, but it was in Poland. It's called M Bank. So
M-Bank.
I don't know, read about them. I won't.
So ads work in us because they invoke emotions and about things that we're attached to, or we feel sentimental about the right music, so we can set the mood in the right way. That's what you're saying. So what gets us in the mood? What can evoke these feelings?
I mean, there is an advert. It was probably a few years ago now, where it was a guy who died and he sort of saved up his life insurance for his family, and that, I don't know if it was for Norwich Union or something like that, but not that I've ever taken out any life insurance, but I find it a real tearjerker. But yeah, once again, emotional manipulation.
So in order to sell, we have to manipulate. So it's about manipulating people. Is life about manipulating people? Do you manipulate people? That is a bit deep. I'm going in a tangent.
I'd say no, but then I'm fairly poor. I think in order to be rich, you probably have to be good at emotional manipulation.
So if you can manipulate, you're rich. What do you think?
I don't know. I think like the whole manipulation thing is it just ties back into capitalism and greed and taking it away from community and taking it away. It just all ties in.
So advertising. Hello. Please show your name.
I'm Gary.
Gary, nice to meet you, Gary.
Prim.
Nice to meet you, Prim. I'm Matt. Welcome to the table. So we were talking about the master plan. We were talking about imagination. Now we're talking about ads. How they're making us emotional, and it just stepped into about manipulating people. How ads manipulate us to buy things, and how capitalism is making us do things, and whether we manipulate people at all. And it's about power dynamics. So I think Margaret wants to.
No, it's funny because you said about capitalism. I was walking on this. It was like a market square or something. There was a lot of tourists, and then this guy stopped me, and I thought, because it was again in Poland, I thought he's trying to sell something to me, so I was hating on him just like in advance. But he said, "Now, has it ever occurred to you to be a vegan?" I'm like, "Actually, it has." And then he said, "Look at the screen. These are little male chicks being, kind of minced up." And I said, "Oh, I was just explaining that video to my mum earlier on that morning." And he said, and I said, "What are you like? Are people feeling moved by the pictures of the chickens being minced up?" And he said, "Yeah, there really are. People really respond to this emotionally." And I said, "It's not doing it for me." And he said, "What? What do you mean? What would convince you to become vegan?" And I said, "I think abolishing capitalism would speak to me more than poor little chickens." But he said, "Yeah, but that's not how people think." And then we kind of ended the conversation there. But it's funny, like what kind of subjects we find, really speak to us, and is it poor? Animals being like tortured? Is it the environment being exploited? Is it old people, seeing old people just poor, and I don't know, or capitalism? I don't know. Yeah.
I was reading a book today, and it pointed out that when people say the chickens have come home to roost, it always gives you the idea that these chickens are evil, doesn't it? So, are all chickens evil?
That is a
Cows are evil.
cows or chickens evil? Do they deserve everything that we do to them? And we're just coming from advertising and evoking emotions in people.
Just going back to the thing, for me, I think the problem with abolishing capitalism is it comes back to this master plan thing. It's like the communists had Stalin had a master plan, and I think how do we do that in an organic way that's a bit more sort of friendly and more kind of easy going, rather than sort of the big kind of let's abolish capitalism.
Sounds like
because we do Talkaoke like 3 times a week, and everyone's always people are talking about capitalism all the time, but no one's got any ideas about how to move on.
So does anyone want to share? What are the ideas to move us forward from capitalism? And
I mean, maybe using advertisement in a way that can help communities. So instead of using it for capitalism, like using it to raise awareness about things like the master plan and people in the community not liking that idea. And like, I don't know how you'd be able to get those like big billboards or like pay for those, or like how communities could like maybe like come together to pay for big billboards to come up with a message to somehow talk to the government, because they don't listen anyway, so you might as well just shove it in their face, I guess like that's like protests and stuff. That's what protests are for. But I just wanted to talk, because we were talking about advertisements. When I was younger, there was this one advertisement. It was for like TfL, but being safe like on the road, and it really was quite terrifying, because it was this kid like this, and like they're up this way, but the floor is there. So then you realise that they're dead on the floor, and it says, "Your best friend should have been looking around the corner when they didn't hit the car." No, it's morbid as fuck. Like it's quite, it's scary, but like it makes you, think twice. And I think the ad's actually called Think. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, maybe advertisement in that kind of way could help, and not to do with like products.
So
but to do with
morbid ads to serve the community, to make everyone aware. Hi sir, we're talking about ads and how they make us emotional and what we can do to our community. So
I haven't drunk enough yet.
please join us. You can please sit down next to us and please share with us.
Well, thank you for inviting me over.
Hello. Hi, my name's Matt. I'm the host of the show. What is your name?
I'm Jimmy.
Nice to meet you, Jimmy. Hello. So yes, we're talking about ads, how they affect us, how they manipulate us, and now we're talking if we can use them to improve communities. That's what has been flagged up, and we're talking about ads as adverts. Yes.
Well, I think I might get barred if I quote Bill Hicks, but he said something about advertising, didn't he?
What did he say? Share with us.
Rude words he said about he was a stand-up comic, Bill Hicks. No one remembers him, do they?
It's a safe space.
He starts off his routine by saying, "Does anybody here works in advertising?" Fuck off! Is anyone working advertising?
No.
What I find about advertising is what I object to, where it corrupts culture, way that you have some piece of classical music that is used to promote a washing machine, and you get these then this kind of corrupts the way you listen to things after you've heard the advert. You kind of lots of things like that, really. That the way that they kind of turn things into a commodity. That I love some things, but as I said, I need a bit more to drink than to make me more relaxed.
That's okay.
My objection to advertising is the way that it lowers everything. So that just a.
So things are becoming banal, essentially. That's what you're saying.
I thought I was obliged to use polysyllables, but
it's about selling commodities.
I think that's very true. I recently went to see Carmen, the opera, And the whole way through, because of the music, I only knew it because of Cornetto adverts. So the whole time I was thinking about Cornetto.
Exactly. So is it good? Is it bad that ads are showing us different parts of culture? Do we enjoy it or do we start hating it?
I mean, I like this idea of like maybe, you know, if Cornetto is using a piece of classical music for their advertising, they should explain it. They should say the music piece of music used in this is this and this and this. You know, just like, I don't know, just like a quick, not disclaimer, but like explainer or something. Because there's an advert for a McDonald's burger that uses a Shostakovich symphony that he wrote for the bombed city, and it's like, what are you doing, basically? But nobody knows it, like unless you know it, unless you read about it or whatever. So I think the advertisers can use whatever they want. It's good promotion, but they need to explain what the source of it is. So yeah, that's Cornetto needs to.
Ads with expertise, ads that will explain to you what they're about and what the sources are.
I sometimes just feel happy for that artist that they got employed and could pay their rent or mortgage that month, you know, when they get an ad, because mostly they're not paid that much. Yeah. I just think, you won.
Yeah. So ads paying
just use that one.
Just this one, okay. Yeah, so it's about ads or people advertising paying the artist, and if we can do
work, don't they? Essentially,
if we can do something for the artists as well, I think that's very pointing that most artists don't make a lot of money, and that ads are adding some money to their pockets, which is a positive in the whole thing. Which is thank you for that note.
Yeah. No, I was going to say. I mean, I think most of the artists that I know that have got any money are people that work in advertising. It's kind of like one of the few ways to make money as an artist, I think. So that is a point, but you know, I think does our world have to be so kind of soulless? And I think we're going to have a change of hosts as well. I can go in. I'll go back in if you want. Yeah. But let's give Matt a huge round of applause. Only his second time in the middle of the table. How was it for you, Matt?
It was amazing. Like, you know, I feel alive again. You know, I was dying at work. You know, doing experiments. You know, just pipetting things up and down, yada yada yada. And I'm alive again. Thank you so much. Maybe it's a beer. Maybe it's Talkaoke. You know, maybe it's Talkaoke effect.
I think it is. It does give you energy, definitely. Does anyone else want to have a go in the middle, by the way? Because this is. Do you want to have a go in the middle? No? Okay, looks like it's going to be me. I'm going to lose this one, though, because we've got a bit too much wind. And what I mean by that is this, the air blowing into the microphone. Yeah, maybe go over there, and I'm going to spin around that side as well. But I'm going to carry on this conversation, because we've got a lot of people here. I'm just going to do a quick... excuse me, Charles, just quick recap of names. Thank you for microphone wrangling there. I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to quickly do a quick round of names and we'll carry on this conversation. There's lots of different threads. There's capitalism, there's advertising, there's emotional manipulation, there's all of the above, there's paying artists, all of these things, there's bins. All of these things are important. So let's just start off and get some names. Tell us your name.
Prem.
And
Charles.
Chloe. Lucinda.
Tianzu.
Jimmy. And Joseph.
Gabby.
Sophie.
Sophie.
Gary.
And I'm Mikey, as some of you may know, some of you don't know. Where do you want to take this conversation? Do you want to carry on talking about... Yep, Charles.
So I'm just trying to scrounge a cigarette right now. I've just been going around. I didn't see anyone. I just thought I don't want to hijack the microphone like this. I thought I would just like spread it out there, and we can go into. So I was seeding the idea. Then now we can go back to it.
I'm going to put the I'm going to put the sad music on. So oh no, that's wrong music. Okay, so Charles needs a cigarette. Should he be advertising the fact that he needs a cigarette? Is that the true meaning of advertising?
Have you been to the air pollution exhibition next door? Yeah, have a look. Yeah.
Are there a lot of smokers there?
There's a few, to be fair.
A few smokers in the air pollution exhibition. Make of that what you will.
Well, funnily enough, when I was an advertising photographer, I used to do a lot of cigarette ads.
Okay.
Naughty me, yeah.
It's your fault I'm smoking.
No, it's all about brand loyalty, you know. That's what they used to tell me anyway. But there was an interesting aside that we were doing a shoot for Marlborough one day, and we had to hire some lizards for the shoot.
Right.
And these lizards turned up, and they were all brown and really not very interesting.
Yeah.
So we waited for a while, and as they relaxed, they got more and more colourful.
Really?
Over about 4 hours, yeah. It took us 4 hours to make the lizards relaxed.
How do you relax them?
Just by sort of not hassling them, you know. But we had to get them from a proper vivarium. You could hire them, you know.
Right, okay.
Yeah, professional lizard models.
Is he the one who said that the lizards need to relax?
Yeah. Well, we had to ring them up and say the lizards are a bit brown. What do we do?
Did you give them little baby kisses? Did you give them kisses?
We gave them a few cigarettes, but.
Okay, I mean, yeah.
So Gary, so the lizards.
Oh, hang on, we can let Jimmy. Hang on, we'll just get a final thought from these people.
We might be coming back.
Okay, well, give us a placeholder final thought.
This has been really fun, and
where are you going?
Just inside. So we'll probably be back.
Okay.
Thank you, lovely people. Keep it cute.
Keep it cute. That's maybe should we take the conversation in the cute direction? That's the question. Gary's lizards cute. What I want to ask you, Gary, how did you feel about doing an advert for Marlborough? There's a lot being said about advertising emotional manipulation. Did you feel like an emotional manipulant, if that's a word?
Well, I guess I was just a technician delivering the image. And when I was younger, I didn't really think about that kind of thing. What to me was the most important thing was making a really good photograph. But I started to change my mind a little bit about that towards the end of the 90s.
Yeah.
And, well, because there wasn't any more cigarette advertising, I had to find other work. No, I made a deliberate decision to get more involved with things that had a sense of social justice, really. So I started working for the UN and the NHS and things like that, trying to repair my reputation.
Right. Okay. So you thought, oh, this is not really. I'm not feeling this anymore. Okay. But it's interesting. Yeah, Jimmy.
I just want to comment about Gary and the thing about the lizards not being interesting. It's like a corruption of these reptiles, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, can't they just be lizards and give and allow the intelligence of the viewer to sort of, like, you know, to say this is a lizard, what I expect a lizard to look like, but it has to be made interesting. You know, it has to be like a showbiz lizard, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, that's why. So yeah, I just thought I'd make a comment with respect to Gary. I'm glad I'm sitting over the other side.
Is the experience of the lizard similar to other people that have been in showbiz, that they have to be made interesting, they have to be kind of, I don't know, fluffed up or whatever to actually be part of this showbiz machine? I want to open this out to other people. Anyone else relax the lizard here on the tour? Well, how do we open this up? Anyone else here involved in advertising or ever been involved in advertising? Or art? Anyone ever seen an advert? And if you have, are there any sort of like stay in your mind? Yep.
The one that stayed in my mind is the one that I've never seen live, but like it's a historic ad about AIDS epidemic from the 90s. Right. I think every single Brit probably knows it. It's the one where you have like Dev that like plays like bawling, right, and like there's people just falling, and how the ad was trying to raise awareness about like that AIDS can get to anyone, that anyone can contract HIV. It's not only the gays, you know, like the disgusting gays who got that. So that's something that like stuck with. That was something I got educated on by some like gay friends of mine who were just like telling me like, oh, we should.
Was it a British advert?
It is a British advert. Yes, it's one of the beautiful. I think the cause was really good, like making everyone aware that yes, anyone can get HIV, but then in turn, like the execution was like a little bit funny.
Yeah.
In a way, I don't know if like people around the table have seen the ad, but you know, like there is bowling and like, you know, when Death is playing, like people are just like keep falling and like I don't know, there's like a mother with a child and the child goes flying, so it looks a little bit ridiculous. You know, very campy in a way. So.
Do you know this advert?
I do. So strictly speaking, you see, that's a public information commercial. So ads were all about pushing a product towards people that didn't want them, you know. Whereas this was trying to educate people about danger, I suppose, really, in a way. You know, so there is a subtle difference between that. Yeah.
Okay. We've got a new face to the table. Tell us your name.
Annabelle.
Annabelle. We have got... Yes, let's have a round of applause. We have got Gary, we've got Bream, we have got Charles, we've got Matt, Chloe, we've got Lucinda, we've got Chansu, we've got Jimmy, and we've got Sophie, and we've got Joseph, and I'm Mikey. And at the moment we're talking about advertising, we're talking about emotional manipulation, we're talking about relaxed lizards for some reason, and were those lizards the stars or the victims of the advert? The AIDS advert, have you seen the AIDS advert from the 80s or 90s or something? Yes.
I was just going to say, linking it back to AIDS again, did anyone watch the TV series that came out recently with, oh my god, the guy from Years and Years, and I can't remember what his name is. Has anyone watched it?
It's a sin.
Yeah, it's a sin.
It's
It was so powerful. It was about AIDS and HIV, and at the beginning of it, it's like, I guess like taking over and the fear and how they, it was very, very powerful watch.
Which year was it?
What? It's a Sin when it was released.
It was last year.
It was like 3 years ago. Yeah.
It was historic.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's about the 80s.
It's about the 80s.
Yeah, it's about the 80s. How it all started, like how people didn't know what AIDS was. So like, you know, all of these gays were just young gay boys were just like mysteriously dying. You know, and how people. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I haven't like experienced that, but like I've heard so many people talking about this, people who lived through this, that it was just like terrible. So I just
I mean, earlier on we were talking about history, and in a way this is a kind of history. Probably some of the people around this table were not around in the 80s. I was around in the 80s, but I can't say this history. But I mean, for the people who were there, what was that like?
So it's interesting because I've been asked to come up with some ideas for a memorial at Landmark House. Do you know about that? That's where the famous handshake between Lady Di and the AIDS patient was. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Very, very sort of amazing moment. And I thought about the handshake, and I thought, well, it's saying, well, I support you, and also not threatening you, but it's also about helping somebody, bringing somebody up. So I was coming up with all these ideas, and the initial contact I had there was very into the idea of working with a sort of youth filmmaking group and stuff. Then I met the board, and they just didn't know what they wanted. They all wanted different things, so I had to pull out of it. It was just too stressful. I could tell from the very, very beginning that it was just going to get worse, and they're not going to actually produce anything, you know. Right. And it's such an important thing to mark that place, which is now a children's nursery, but the building is still there, you see, in Tulse Hill.
Yeah. It's interesting because earlier on we were talking about history, and so much history in this area. Someone was talking about the just all the things that happen in these streets, but something like that. How do we actually represent this kind of history? It is a challenge. It's not so straightforward, I don't think, but I mean, how do we actually go back? Is a kind of drama series the best way of doing it? Is it about creating an artwork?
On a tangent a little bit, but like I'm gonna challenge what we're talking about history, because like I think history like repeats itself, but like we live in the present, so sort of making a connection between AIDS and what's happening now. Like very recently there was a monkeypox outbreak, and you can see how people were reacting in the news. People were saying like, "Oh, it's just a gay disease. It's something for the gays. It's just gays getting it." And the response to this of the community was amazing. Like the vaccine was developed within like a few weeks. All of the gay people I know went and got vaccinated. The problem almost disappeared. There's still like a few cases coming up, but it's not happening anymore. So it's thanks to science, thanks to communication. But what we saw again was still some very right-wing people going on like, "Oh, it's gays, like God is mocking you again for all of your sins," because it's a sin, obviously. but like we've got like history happening now, you know. So the challenge I'm bringing to the table is that, you know, is representing history of art as important as representing the today with the art that we have.
I think what I realised when I was looking into this project is that, of course, there's still the contaminated blood scandal, which, you know, there's that. The contaminated blood scandal where people were given blood transfusions and it was either Hep C or HIV in there. There was also a lot of, especially black female prostitutes in that part of Brixton who were getting it from men who had just come back from Africa. So it was not a gay disease. It was right across the board. You know, it was just they were looking for a scapegoat really to blame it on.
Do you think we can learn from that history, or do you think it's about addressing the issues of today? I mean, did It's a Sin kind of illustrate, in a way, help us with how to... I mean, okay, there's going to be right-wing people, but the majority of people, are they actually being helped by things like, hello, come join us? We're talking about history. Anyway, so yeah, there's some of the questions. What? Yeah, Jimmy?
My experience of it is that you know, we get to a certain point in our respective histories and we think we're all very civilised and sophisticated, and then something like AIDS comes along and then it reverts back to, you know, very sort of primitive emotions about, and that's what I find worrying about. You know, when we talk about history, it's as if there's some kind of progress, but events occur, and then suddenly we're taken much further back again.
Yeah, so it's more of a cycle than a straight line.
Yeah, and if there were to be, I mean, there's films about, you know, it's kind of connected with advertising.
Yeah.
Is what I object to films and like a lot of the visual arts is the way that if there was a film made about AIDS that was got like late 1980s, it's so kind of stylised. All the interiors are very like late 1980s interiors. But for me growing up, I grew up where there's like a 1960s interior, well into the 1970s, and it's kind of. Maybe I should try to relax a bit, but I just get triggered by these things. I look at the production values of things and the way that they're trying to sort of make it a stylised sort of feast for the eyes, and say how clever we are that we're putting all these light motifs, you know. There's a little book over there. There's a little book over there, and there's a bit of there's like Bronsky beat playing or something, you know. And that is what gets me. So I hope they're not going to make a film about it. They obviously have done, but I don't watch them. Thank you.
Okay, so it's almost like a sort of, even a historical thing like that. It's a Sin is almost like a kind of, or a stylised version of what the 80s was actually like, where, you know, all the best things, I suppose, from the 80s, all the smart and clean things that actually weren't there. People weren't actually listening to Bronsky beat with shoulder pads and whatever. So yeah.
In something that you said, I'm relating to some of what you said, because I think I recently heard this sentence: if you think 80s were great, you weren't there, or something like this. It's something like that. I don't know. Maybe people can correct me. I can't remember exactly how it was. Something like that. So that's number one. But I think in culture, I think that there's a tendency to kind of like make things look better than they actually are, and I always get that with like Eastern Europe. It's like the world on fire. Oh no, there's a beautiful Polish woman and an English guy, and oh no, there's the war. Oh damn it, you know. And it's always fucking like that. And then yeah, and there's like a lot of stereotypes, and you always see it's like, yeah, you know, just like relax, just laugh about it a bit. It's like, yeah, I can laugh about it, but it's just a bit boring. That's all.
Okay, so it gets romanticised. I mean, what about people think about this? We're talking about the 80s. Anyone around in the 80s? And were you actually there?
I wasn't around in the 80s, but I think like nostalgia is a way of dealing with how shit the present is, and stuff happens at a really quick pace COVID comes along, everything flips around. Another thing will come along, flip it around now, and we need to cling on to something that was just a little bit back in the past, whether it's 80s, 60s, 70s. Like my grandmother said, she loved the 20s, which she wasn't alive in, and I think and so this was this kind of it's constantly happening. It's just the nostalgia has to be in this little bit back in the past, and it helps us deal with the shit of the now.
So we're talking about the 80s, we're talking about romanticising the past, we're talking about this nostalgia.
The 70s. Depends if you were around in the 70s, you see, when you compare it to the 80s. Because it all changed. It was...
Was the 70s better?
Not for me, it wasn't, no. Okay. No, I was, it was Thatcher, wasn't it? She suddenly, not that I like her, but everything changed. It all suddenly, it was all a bit hard up before, and suddenly we were all flying around the world, sort of that kind of thing.
Okay.
So I won't keep asking for the mic. I'll sit back a bit, but I remember 1979. I was at a New Year's Eve party, and it was like the end of the 70s, and then we was all. Someone put on the telly the Kenny Everett show because there was going to be a David Bowie video.
Right.
And there was a thing about you had to be in the moment then back in those days, and now everything is like on playback. That you had to sort of like turn up and be there, and there was like a kind of an immediacy, and like it was like ephemeral, and you were there watching the telly, and no one had a video recorder, and it was great. And now I just feel that now we're just constantly in playback.
Well, you watch that Kenny Everett video on YouTube now.
Yeah, and one last thing is I do have an objection with this thing about the 70s. There's this, like, I call it a kind of a decadism, like as if like everything, all the styles that occurred in the 70s ended at midnight. At 19. It's kind of this kind of the 80s, the 60s, and I just find they blend in. Like, for me the 80s started with the Sex Pistols in some ways. That's when the 80s began, and the 60s end. And it's kind of I've struggled a little bit with this idea of like a decade and put it all in the box. Anyway,
are we boxing things up too much? Yeah.
I'm gonna disagree a little bit about being there and being sure, you have to be somewhere and be present and enjoy the moment, but I'm 25, soon 26, but I feel that my days. Oh, thank you. Yeah, actually in a week's time I'm gonna be 26, but. Yes, I'm a Libra, but like the point I'm trying to make is that I have this app. It's called Be Real, and it's about, it sends you a notification once a day. You take a picture of yourself and then of something that's in front of you. And in this way, create memories. So like I myself, I'm really bad at like making notes about my days. There's sometimes when I try to do this, write my thoughts, how my life is. But I'm really, really bad. Like I don't know, I make a note like every 3 months. But I have an app that tells me, it's like a diary for me for recording what I'm doing, how's my life going. Usually I'm working, but that's fair enough. Like in 20 years I'm not going to be in the same place, hopefully. I'm going to be doing something else, and hopefully I'll have those pictures if no one erases them from my iCloud or anything. But what I'm trying to say is that...
How do you think you're going to look back on a 25-year-old you when you're 45?
When I'm 45, I'm gonna just look at myself and be like, damn, you were hot. Probably, but the reason why I'm doing this is that I feel like my days slip by. I have no idea what I'm doing every day. Like if you ask me what I was doing last week, I have no idea. My memory sucks. I cannot do anything. So yeah, I think taking pictures, like although like you're in the moment, it's really nice, because like you get to like relive these moments, even if they are like everyday banal moments. Like I don't know, I'm working, I'm in the lab, I'm doing an experiment, and in a year's time I'm gonna be like, oh, that's when I did that experiment. I don't know. It's maybe I'm romanticizing my everyday life, but
possibly.
Yeah, just to sort of counter that, I mean, I work primarily in academia, where you're constantly told to make notes all the time. And I did used to make notes a lot more than I do now. And then it occurred, like, I realised at one point, I never bothered to read back the notes I actually ever made. And at some point, I realised that if I didn't remember it, then it was, by definition, forgettable. And that if you're making notes, if you're taking photographs of things you would forget, why would you want to remember things that are forgettable?
Okay, we've got a new face to the table. I'll come to you in a second, Margot. Tell us your name.
Emmett.
Emmett, we've got Preem. We're going to give you a round of applause as well, because we were doing that today. We've got Preem, we've got Charles, we've got Matt, we've got Chloe, we've got Lucinda, we've got Tian Tu, we've got Jimmy, we've got Margot, we've got Sophie, we've got Joseph, and we've got Johnny back with a haircut. How do you feel about your haircut?
I feel great. I'm feeling great. Yeah, Roots Barber's right across the road for everyone here.
You feel more sharp now?
Oh, I don't know. Do I sound more sharp?
Definitely, yeah.
You'll find out we've got Mikey as well.
Yes, me, Mikey in the middle, and at the moment we started off talking, well, it's a long way back, well, more recently we talked about emotional manipulation, advertising, relaxed lizards, the AIDS advert, the perception of, the master plan was even further back. That's a real rewind.
That's history.
We talked about history, and the 80s. Are we putting our decades in the box? Was it really? Jimmy was saying the 80s was not like how it is on It's a Sin, the TV drama, but it's actually, there wasn't everyone listening to Bronski Beat with kind of, with MFI furniture and shoulder pads. It just wasn't like that. And then I guess we're talking about keeping a diary, being in the moment, and that's where we are right now. And then Johnny's just come back with a new haircut. That's kind of where we are. I don't know where we want to take this. You are going to say something, weren't you? Oh, Preem.
Well, I've been trying to, but...
Oh, sorry. You've been too subtle.
Yeah, a bit subtle when you were not cheering, that was. Okay.
Yeah.
So, apologies. I too am an academic, so I'll keep it short, brief, cryptic. We've talked about capitalism, we've talked about advertising, and we've talked about people's modes of communication, articulation, and dissent, right? I'm using short words there, right? So I just want to say a few things. I think we're all talking about subject positions or subjectivity formation and how people relate to things and to people and why they do that. So it's a question of desire and fear, and that's what advertising works on. Advertising works on how desires are manipulated, emotionally manipulated, and in different ways they're manipulated intellectually too, right? So there is that. Returning to capitalism, I just want to say something very briefly. I think there is a problem in that we cannot imagine the end of capitalism. I think there is a huge intellectual failure there in many ways. We can imagine the end of the earth, we can imagine the end of the planet, and we cannot imagine the end of capitalism. I think, so I will just stop there, I think. Big things.
Okay.
I don't know if some of this has been covered, but I think one of the things is what we call decades is a bit strange, because when people talk about the 60s, they mean the swinging 60s, which began about halfway through 1967 in a couple of bits of London. Everywhere else it hit years later. And most of the 60s was much more like what we think of as the 50s, the Macmillan, you never heard it so good kind of thing, because like 62, so that was the normal thing that people had, rock and roll, Teddy Boys, that kind of thing. The same when we talk about the 80s, this thing where people were talking about started in a few clubs it might have even started in the late 70s, but really it didn't get mainstream until it started to hit the charts and stuff, Culture Club in the 80s and stuff. But again, that was mostly one or two people in each town buying these records, listening to it. They didn't actually have local gay bars to go to or anything like that, apart from maybe one or two places in Manchester and stuff, but mostly Soho, basically. And so what we think of as the 60s was really just the very tail end of the 60s. What we think of the 80s was the very tail end of the 80s. And it's probably the same for every other decade. The unusual one is this, because people were talking about the roaring 20s and things, and then it was all about the coronavirus, which people thought, 100 years ago there was a pandemic, 1919, 1920 when it hit places. So that's very unusual, because we were thinking about the decade right at the start. We talked about it in the noughties, because what do we call them? Do we call them the noughties? Or I think that's the one that seems to have stuck. But anyway, it seems to be raining now. I don't know if that's good people's judgment on my contribution.
What about okay, so in a way you're saying that these things that we symbolise as the era are actually just happening in a very small place. I feel like we might be curtailed with the rain here, but
weather forecast, how often it's wrong these days. Oh, yeah. And I tell you, 20 years ago it was better than this, the forecast.
Okay, so
I have a real problem with weather forecasts, right? This is a real problem. Thank you for bringing that subject up. You see, the way they generalise, they do the British Isles, they say it's always like up in Scotland it's going to be raining, and in Wales it's going to be like this, and then sort of in the south, in Cornwall, and what I do is I do this thing like the Isle of Wight. If like the Isle of Wight was a country on its own, it would have its own weather forecast. You have like the eastern end of the Isle of Wight, it'll be like that, and in the west it's going to be quite cold. So you get this like generalised, however sophisticated weather forecasting is, when you get it presented on the telly, they do like this, like up there it's going to be really miserable, and kind of come down here it's going to be warmer, and it annoys me.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, we're talking. Oh, you've got an umbrella. You've done very well there. I don't know. I feel like if it's going to keep on raining, then maybe we just get for final thoughts. Normally we've got an event shelter, but for complicated reasons we didn't put it up today. I did actually look at the weather forecast. It said 10% chance of rain at 8 o'clock. 10% chance. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, is it time? I just feel it's easing off a little. Come on, guys, easing off a little bit.
I think we're going to be okay. I feel lucky here today.
To drizzle.
Yeah.
It's had worse than that. Anyway, where are we going to go with this conversation? We're going to talk about weather forecasts, we're going to talk about capitalism, we're going to talk about the boxes of the 70s, 80s, 90s, somehow combining these things all together. Kind
of, can we collectively decide whether or not it's cold? Because I feel very odd sitting here with this hat on, this overcoat, and the people are sitting in short sleeve shirts. I feel very odd. Is it cold? Is it cold, or it's a very banal question because it's a very sophisticated discussion, but is it cold or is it
cold? Okay, hands up if you're cold. Hands up if you're cold. Okay, generally people are cold. Emmett's just come off of a bicycle, so yeah. You came on the bus, okay.
I come from the northeast, so I'm cold.
You're from Durham and you think it's cold. Okay, so it probably is cold if the guy from Durham thinks it's cold. I'm warm because I'm absorbing everybody's thoughts and ideas, and therefore I have to. My brain is working and it's keeping me warm. Are you cold? Are you warm? Yeah, it's raining. Yes, it is. Yes, they don't seem too cold though. All right, okay. Maybe it's time. In which case, sorry, Emmett, because you've just arrived. But it is. We did bill this at 6 till 8, and it is 8:30. So there we go. We're here. Well, we're around somewhere on this street. You've got the tarpaulin. Well done. Yes. Got the tarpaulin there. But I think it maybe is time just to call it, because people are getting cold. People are getting wet. People are getting angry.
4 in the morning. It's
doing okay. Okay. Well, maybe. Anyway, maybe we should just get some final thoughts, but then carry on if it stops raining. And go from there. We talked about a lot of stuff tonight. We talked a lot about the master plan.
As a recap, what does that mean? Is it to do with the Olympic legacy?
I don't know, Joseph. As you're an academic and you're good at summing things up, can you just explain what all that chat about? Because you were here from the very beginning, as was Charles.
I was here, and I'm not from here, but I listened to the people that were here, and either the master plan is about 4 or 2 or 1 big towers that are around this area.
A number of large.
And there's something about underpasses and getting rid of them or turning them into parks or parks that are actually paths. I'm not sure. It didn't sound good, to be honest. And we're anti-master plan. And that's the moral of the story, I think. Well, apart from the master plan of this haircut, which was a terrific success, the master plan of ending capitalism, which is a good master plan, I think.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yep. So then we started talking about the master plan. Then we talked about how we make decisions. Then we talked about, what did we talk about after that? After how we make decisions, we talked a little bit. Adverts. We talked about adverts. We talked about emotional manipulation. We talked about the AIDS crisis. We talked about how we view history. Lizards, relaxed lizards. Initially stressed, but now relaxed lizards. We talked about the bins. We talked about the bin strike. We talked about a lot of stuff. We're kind of coming along to final thoughts.
I was just trying to get my husband to
Come along, yes.
He's so shy. He's really shy.
Anyway, but now I feel like it is time for final thoughts. Everyone's been here and they've experienced what they've experienced. They've been part of it. So you can give a final thought on anything, even something we haven't talked about.
I'm interested in this idea of advertising, and like, if you were to make an advertisement, like, what would that be? Like, what would go on your banner, kind of thing?
I'm going to turn the mirror and ask you.
Yeah, I know you're going to do that, but come back to me.
Okay.
No, maybe. Come back to me. No, I'll let you know. I'll call you. No, but I think maybe it'll be something about, I don't know.
What about an advert for everything? All different things.
Yeah, but how? What would be on this advert?
I mean, how can you have
all different people in different adverts and different and the way they dress, whatever, different things.
Yeah.
A different advert for every different person. That's what
Okay, I'll go with that.
So it's an advert for life or the economy or something like that. For people, advert for people. What would your advert be? I'm going to go around the table on this one, then we're going to do final thoughts.
I agree. I think, like, Andy Warhol said, everyone should have 15 minutes of fame. Everyone should be forced to be in an advert for at least 15 minutes.
Everyone should be forced to be in at least one advert. What would your advert be?
my advert be? I'd advertise Roots for my haircut.
Okay, advertising for the barbers.
I think it would have to be an advert for the master's plan, because like you always have like Doctor Who comes along and frustrates it all the time, doesn't he? And the master's plan never gets carried out. So to win support, the master needs to start advertising a bit more effectively.
Okay, so the master needs an advert for the master plan. That's definitely been proven tonight. Yeah.
I'd like to do an advert for Talkaoke, and like I think every pub should have Talkaoke. Should be one in the corner. This has been quite surreal and great.
Okay, definitely we will be talking to you.
I feel like my advert would be about people hugging cows.
Hugging cows.
There's a very beautiful there's a beautiful Instagram account called The Gentle Barn, and they hug cows, and it's so beautiful.
You told me about that.
It's so beautiful. If you're ever sad, just hug a cow.
Okay.
What would my advert be about?
I think that's the most specific one we've had so far.
Just being in green space, or finding green space wherever you can, even if it's just a patch outside, in a housing estate, just stand in it. Yeah.
Okay, so advert for green. What would your advert be for, Dan, if you were going to make an advert for something? So.
What advert for the area?
No, it could be an advert for anything. So far we've had an advert for people. We've had an advert. What was your advert for again?
Everyone forced to be in an
advert for everyone being in an advert. Advert for Roots Barbers. An advert for the master plan. An advert for Talkaoke. What you didn't actually. You missed out.
For the pub.
Tommy Flowers pub. Okay.
Yes.
How would it go?
Where the drink is cheap, but talk ain't. Please come and have a good drink.
All right. That sounds like a very good. Yeah, that sounds like a very good advert.
Good jingle with it as well. They go, get your beers here, get your beers here.
And my advert, that's such a good question. I think it would be an advert about self-care, you know, how you should go to sleep at a reasonable time. You know, just like, it would be a commercial, like, take care of yourself, rest a lot, you know, it would be like soothing music, you know, like someone just like, you know, going to sleep, waking up, feeling very nice. You know, and I think that's self-care, you know, just like relax, breathe, it's gonna be fine.
Okay, so that's really nice. An advert just to relax and breathe. Chansu, what would your advert be for?
Just one word. I've just want to say I've been enjoying the Talkaoke so much, but I'm being quiet because I'm an introvert. So my advert will be maybe adverts for other introverts being able to speak something out. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, so that's basically because I'm not good at talking, but maybe good at writing or painting. So if it's an advert, I'll be freely to say anything I want on it, and people will get to see it. Yeah.
Mine would be, if I can slightly step outside of the terms of reference, is that I was a boy growing up in the 60s, and the future wasn't going to be like this. So I want an advert for middle-aged men that feel betrayed by the advertising or the culture that's going to say that people like me, that were not particularly well educated and fit, could go out in space, you know. It didn't happen, and I want an advert for the betrayed people. Thank you.
An advert for those people who should have gone to space. Okay, with some really good adverts there. Yeah.
I just want to add, I would have an advert for, do you know where your piece of classical music comes from and what it represents in your McDonald's ad?
Yes.
That's one from me.
Yeah.
Anything from you, Mike?
Okay, I'm just gonna, that wasn't the final thoughts, by the way. That was just the pre-final thoughts. Now I want to get people's final thoughts. It's not just about adverts, it could be about absolutely anything. What are your final thoughts as you go away? What should we have talked about? What could we have talked about? Could we have gone into more depth about what, anything. It could just be like Danny said, I want some more beers. I thought Danny actually stopped drinking beer, but anyway, maybe it started again. Or maybe he was thinking about other people.
I'll email you about that tomorrow.
Okay. Yes, all right. And Margot will definitely answer it. Okay, final thought.
Final thought. Well, I was just wondering with the master plan what was going to happen to all the shops here and the businesses here, because they're pretty colourful, they're quite nice. Obviously, Roots Barbers, and the boxing club there is pretty nice. But end of capitalism. Talking about that, how would we end capitalism? What viable alternatives are there? I think communism hasn't worked for anyone. Fascism's obviously not on, so be interesting to see how that goes. Yeah.
Do you think that Preem was right when he said we can imagine the end of the world more than we can imagine the end of capitalism?
Oh.
Yeah, I think so I studied behavioral science at university, and based on what I've studied, it seems like human competitiveness is just not going to end. So I suppose, there's some truth to that, based on what I know. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you think that competitiveness is there for all time, then the best thing is to utilise that people have to compete with each other to be more cooperative. And then the people who collaborate the best and help other people collaborate best get lauded by everyone in society and receive everyone's love and affection, and then everyone's going to want to be that one. But lots of people have imagined life without capitalism or life after capitalism. There's been often called utopias. So there's a book called Utopia, written in the 16th century by Thomas More. There's a book called News from Nowhere, written in the 19th century by William Morris. There's a book called Herland. There's many of the, I mean, my two favourites have to be by Aldous Huxley. He wrote a book called Island, the last book he wrote before he died. And the other one I would recommend is by Ursula Le Guin called The Dispossessed. And they're the two most inspiring I've read that really imagine a world with capitalism is really not necessary at all.
Okay, so it is out there, as most things are. We just have to imagine it and find it. I'm going to come to you in a minute, Jimmy, but we're going around getting final thoughts, and you, Matt. But Charles, give us a final thought. It doesn't have to be as erudite as Emmett.
All right. You mentioned Sudoku, like, what was that, like 4 hours ago? Yeah. And like, what are your opinions about Sudoku? I hate Sudoku. I really, the numbers just kind of get all like kind of scrambled together. Actually, Scrabble is horrible as well. I hate like any word search kind of thing. Like, I want to look at like a funny cartoon in the back of the paper and kind of giggle, and that's it. Sudoku is awful. That's my final thought.
Okay, well, that's well put about Sudoku. Not everyone likes Sudoku. Is it Sudoku? Sudoku. So, yeah, not everyone likes it, basically, Matt. But your final thought doesn't have to be about that if you don't feel it's relevant.
I accept that. It's a safe space. We can hate or like Sudoku. But my final thought is related to what you were talking about, utopia, and what we can do. And it's about incremental change and incremental improvements. Nothing happens overnight. Revolutions fail. What we can do is change things step by step, little by little, by pushing our agendas. And that's all.
Okay, a round of applause for that one.
Okay, there's two final thoughts. One was a guy, I think it was sat over here, and he was talking about how we, how we can picture the end of the earth, but we can't picture the end of capitalism. And I was like, "Pooh, that's intense." Also, second final thought, if anyone hasn't been to the air pollution exhibition, you should go, because there's like another 25 minutes. And actually, I was going to say about your quote that you put on the air pollution board. Lucinda put an amazing quote, and she said how air is the final thing that we have that's free. So yeah. And we should value it, and we should look after it, because, well, I feel like they might start charging, yeah. Have you seen the air pollution around here? Yeah. Oh no, you have to go. Caroline's running it, she's great, she's in the pink trousers.
Should we start charging for air, then we would value it more. Maybe we can make an advert for air.
I don't know if I can really get it into a pithy quote. My final thought is, I don't know. There was something about what you said about the stylization of things, and I took it on board. I knew what you meant, and I accepted it. But I also thought there's something about looking back and just presenting things in a way that's helpful or beautiful to us now, and we want to say something in that way. It's not always about showing what was then, but what we want to know about what was then, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, two thoughts here. The first one is I stopped picturing how the consultation would be like if it's done in the form of Talkaoke. I think it's a lot of fun to hear people just like throwing out their thoughts and feel like it's a very good way of engagement. Yeah, that's the first thought. I really like it. And the second thought is I've enjoyed a lot doing visualization back there, because like collecting people's thoughts, but I'm not sure if you think it's helpful. But yeah. Thank you.
And those who haven't seen it, hopefully it's still on your laptop. We can have another little look, and it's a good. You got rid of the laptop for the rain. Good thinking. Anyway, let's final thought.
Yeah, if I can add something to like the canon of literature that we're talking about, is a book that interests me is In Praise of Folly by Erasmus. Right. And And all kind of connected with that was also kind of, I don't know if anybody's quoted Oscar Wilde tonight, but you have to, don't you, really, at one point. I love the quote, you know, life is far too important to be taken seriously. And there's this idea that we, you know, we can intellectualise life, but we should also enjoy it, really, and have some fun. And which I don't do too often, and I was late. And it sounds like an advertising strapline, so I'm kicking myself in the shins as I speak. But I was late to the party. But thank you for the nice welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great. Some great final thoughts. So Margaret, have you got a final thought?
I want to say that no one's ever late to Talkaoke. If it's ongoing, goes on. We were supposed to finish at 8, so we're late finishing, so no worries there. And we were early starting, early-ish, anyway, which never happens, but there you go. But my final thought, I mean, it's been a really good one, particularly in the second half, when we kind of moved on from the master plan, or kind of a bit. No, I think it's an important thing, but I felt like we had more fun with the subject. But
maybe we could have had, if we had more fun with the master. Maybe if we'd had more fun with the master plan, it would have opened it up and been that nice conversation that would have involved more people. Because maybe that's the issue with it as well, that we couldn't have more fun with it.
Master fun. It could have been, but I do think maybe the way also you were saying about the decades and the representation and that kind of stuff, I think we live in a very visual world, so I think missing out on that, and I think for me it's a big question, how do you visualize the difficulties, because everyone is capable of making a nice visualization of, hey, it's going to be so many different improvements to the area, it's going to be great, but are you just, you know, not telling the entire truth? Maybe it's very hard to say, you know, the dark, you know, tell the dark side of the story in a creative, fun, exciting, colourful way. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be thinking about. Drawing out the pain. That's what Matt said, but he's not paying attention because he's making his diary probably.
How can we draw out the pain? Is basically where we're going to end this. So thank you. And this has been Talkaoke. I think we're going to leave it there. We're here every last Thursday of the month, but you can also follow. We've put the cards down somewhere, maybe in that silver box. There's some cards. Yeah, please do. So the next one would be on the something of. 20th? Oh, we're at the Natural History Museum on the 20th of October. That's in West London, and yeah, we're going up west, and we're back here on the 26th of October. And if anyone wants to follow us, we're The People Speak. I've got some cards as well somewhere. And we're going to hit the theme music, so give yourselves a big round of applause. That's us. If you want to come and see us and talk about any of this stuff or talk about something else, we're normally in from 11 o'clock-ish at the People Speak next to the chicken shop, which is where the chips come from. Yeah, that's over there at number 27. It's the orange shop, and the chicken shop's the blue shop. And thanks everyone for joining. And big round of applause for Matt as well. And Jimmy, you want to say final thought?
No, I wish I came earlier. And that's a sort of like yeah. I feel depressed, but I didn't turn up earlier. It sounds like it really. The questions about the regeneration things you're talking about, I missed that, and that is part of me. I've grew up in this neighbourhood, and I've read lots of the plans. You know, I've got a little archive of all how wonderful things are going to be, and it's always been like slightly disappointing, to put it mildly. You know.
That's also part of your advert, isn't it? For how things got promised, and then it wasn't flying skateboards in space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Round of applause for Mike in the middle. Yes. And for Matt in the middle. And for Tiansu on the visuals. And over and out. I said I'm never going to say that again. I said it again.